Hello, guys, and welcome to another edition of Rebel Live. This new edition I've started that I go by every Sunday. And you know how I roll here. Here we talk about everything, even our own worst nightmare. And today we have such an issue. This is an issue we have been beating around the bush for so long. Everybody's talking about a revolution that's coming. It's not coming. It's here. We are just in the starting phase, but it's here, and it is up to every individual on this planet to make a choice really, really soon. And that is what we're going to talk about today. As always, I start out with playing a piece of music that I think is suiting for what we're going to talk about today. And of course, today we are talking about revolution. So I found some of my favorite rappers to make a message to everybody. And the rap today is because I want to be a little more aggressive than I usually am. Today I'm not going to be all. I'm gonna lay down the pretty side of me, and I'm gonna swear a lot today. So make sure the kids has gone to bed. I'll start out with a piece of music for everybody. This is Revolution, and you can hear it. It's called Stand Tall. It's by Steve Grant, and it has some Diesel Automatic in it, and that's what we're gonna hear today.
Yeah. Steve Grant. Ghost, what up? Diesel, what up? Yeah, we the children of the future. We live in your computers, and we resist the hiss from these slithering Medusas. Switching up maneuvers more quicker than they used to. The last thing they want is thought criminals to move up. They try to reach for us, but they can't get to us. We're built to take hits, everything just slams into us. And because we ain't falling for these planned agendas, the shit we spit's only for advanced listeners. So listen up and look at us, we see it goes beyond us. It's why when we come together, we become the strongest. We getting close to the edge and I'm jumping off it, cause I ain't scared to die when I see that I got my squadron. We bombing them and I ain't talking about Boston, so shut up. Coming down on them, it's like a comet hitting Russia. Yeah, and that's a promise to my mother. Powerhouse by myself, but I'm stronger with my brothers.
Ghost Rider, Steve Grant, Diesel, we unite. Uniting tyrants, we divide. Peacefully, we freedom fighting. Fight the lyrics we reciting, all the weapons that we choose. If the people come together, there's no way we'll ever lose. Divided we fall, united we stand tall. Divided we fall, united we stand tall. Divided we fall, united we stand tall. It's power to the people, each and every one of y'all. Diesel Automatic, I've been blessed with a voice to spread the message with these lyrics. They my weapon of choice. I'm rapidly spitting balls like bullets when they're recited. I ignited a fire in the people that can't be slighted. We're united by the energy of the human spirit. This is revolution speaking through the music, you can hear it. Power to the people is the message in our lyrics. All those who have chosen to oppose it better fear it. I vow there's no surrender, I will never go silent. I bow to no oppressor, take orders from no tyrant. I'm defying a giant, larger than Leviathan. Born in the lion's den, informed by the might within. I am him, he is me. Diesel, I'm the G.O.D. The energy in everything and everyone you'll ever see. We are all connected by a higher power. It's time that we unite and fight until the final hour. Ghost Rider, Steve Grant, Diesel, we unite. Uniting tyrants, we divide. Peacefully, we freedom fighting. Fight the lyrics we reciting, all the weapons that we choose. If the people come together, there's no way we'll ever lose. Divided we fall, united we stand tall. Divided we fall, united we stand tall. Divided we fall, united we stand tall. It's power to the people, each and every one of y'all.
Yeah. Ghost Rider, I've been fired, a team coming. We joining forces to teach the world to stand for something. Cause most will fall for anything. A nation full of creeps and blind sheep, sleepwalkers and dope fiends. I've seen it all from the years that I put in. So afraid of truth that when you tell it, they head spins. And that's what happens when they make evil good, or good to be evil. Too much deception on our people and the ones we call sheeple. Roaming packs, know the type to play dumb when confronted with facts. They don't want to know the truth, they rather be fed lies. So the blind leads the blind while humanity declines. Refuse to let it happen to me, not having it. Soldier for the Lord, so these demons I do battle with. Rappers nowadays are just counterfeits and prostitutes. Targeting your kids, better guide them like you're supposed to do.
Ghost Rider, Steve Grant, Diesel, we unite. Uniting tyrants, we divide. Peacefully, we freedom fighting. Fight the lyrics we reciting, all the weapons that we choose. If the people come together, there's no way we'll ever lose. Divided we fall, united each and every one of y'all.
Well, it's pretty nice of it. It says I'm muted. So a dumb fuck like me don't just sit here and talk. So yeah, that was Steve Grant, Diesel Automatic. Hope you liked it. It always put me in a mood when I've been out there too long, looking at all those weird people out there, and I need to correct my mind. I go home and listen to music like that. It just puts me in the right mindset. So it's also a number I play when I work out because it somehow just makes me go harder. So whatever makes you run, you check, right? So today I want to talk about revolution, and it's a pretty wide concept because what is revolution? Is it what we're experiencing now, or is it just going around and being against something, So I have an idea that I want to share with you today, but that's my idea of revolution. Every single one of you out there can have a different version of what revolution means to you, and that's also a part of my idea, So, but first I want to shout out the people are here because, well, I must do something right because people are here when I turn on the mic. I need to be more ready. Normally there's like 10 minutes before people show up, but now they're here right away. We have Bossachino in the house, and Bossachino actually already made us a poem for what we are going to talk about today. This is the first half of the poem. You can read that while I go through here. We have Ellie B in the house. Welcome. Nice to see you, Ellie. You are always a good vibe to have. And Senwen, ASIT. I'm not sure I've talked to you, but you are welcome. Yeah, I'm just a guy trying my best to have a conversation with like-minded people. So that's what we do here. No topic is too small. No topic is too big. Everything is allowed. There's no restriction, neither from me or YouTube. Yeah, there's one. Treat each other with kindness. That's the only one I have. So that goes for all new people. We have Carrie Skates. We have Voynich. Welcome, both of you. And we have Katina in a birdcage. So, yeah, did I miss anybody? Johnny Cool is here. Yeah. So, yeah, revolution. It's not a new thing. It seems like it's been here before. It seems like it's a part of history. It seems like the loop is going around. We have something that's trying to infiltrate us and take over our minds and our bodies, and ends up being defeated by the human spirit, just like we heard in the song. It seems like we are winning. I think they're trying to suppress that. I'm just going to play the other half of that poem. So, yeah. Oh, that was not the poem. Sorry. The other half of Bossachino's poem is right there. I think it's a great one. So, yeah, I think everybody on this planet need to take a stand on this because it's not for everybody, And there's no, as I said before in some of my live streams, there are no gray zones no more. You need to choose, and you need to choose now. If you don't, if you choose to fight, if you choose to go the revolution, join the revolution, you should do it now, because when people are coming here knocking at your door and demand stuff from you, you'll not be ready if you don't join now. You need to make that decision now, so you can prepare yourself for when the revolution comes. And I think everybody needs to realize that it's not coming; it's right here. And as Vinus said, yeah, there will be blood. At least that's what we are reading in the history books. It ends in blood every time. And we have all. You can look at all revolution. Whether it's in Spain or in France or in the US or wherever. It ends up in a bloody pool. Maybe we are getting wiser and we can actually stop this in its tracks and make it less bloody. But I'm pretty sure that it will end in violence. So, yeah. I've been on the street protesting and demonstrating, and I'm not sure that is the way to go either, because it seems like every time we do that, we play into their narrative and we play right into their hand, because then they have the control they need. They can put cops in front of you and cops in back of you, and they control the narrative. So I think we need to be more cunning than that. So just go out there. Dare I say it? Get arrested. For those who can do that, I think you should. For those who have that provocative mindset, those who have that calm and superior attitude in everyday lives should go out there and do something. I don't care what it is. Just make a sign, go on the street, show it to people. If you're not ready to talk to people about everything that's going on, that's the end is near and stuff like that, just write a sign, say the thing is a hoax. Everything, your entire reality is made up. And just take whatever it takes. Just do whatever it takes. My idea of freedom and independence and also revolution actually comes from the Americans. It just seems like some of them have forgotten a little. But yeah, I want to play you a little clip from a movie. I'm not going to say which one, but it has a certain character you can recognize right away. But he says something that he's reading from the, what do you call it? The Charter of Independence, I think it is. And that is actually the narrative that I go by. So let's watch that and talk about it.
The ideas that became the United States, there's a line here that's at the heart of all the others. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security. It means if there's something wrong, those who have the ability to take action have the responsibility to take action.
I hope you could hear that. Oh, Johnny Cool has something to say. Down south, they haven't forgot Rebel, but they forgot who the enemy is. Yeah, that's pretty obvious. I'm not too hardcore in American history, I must say, so I'm not going to get into that. But what is said here in this little clip is actually my idea, of what I would like. I would like everybody who's able. I would like everybody who has a little more what do you call it? Redundance of energy in their spare time to go out there and use it. Let us be heard. I'm trying to wake up some of the men in my community, but I'm specifically targeting them, the people I think that's strong enough, you know. So yeah, that may sound a little condescending, and it's not. I assure you. I just think that if you don't have the strength to do that, to do whatever it takes to keep us in check, then don't do it, you know. But help other people be that infiltrator, you know, and know that what do you call it? Help other people to step up to this game, you know. If you're not the silent type, if you're shy, you can still help. Just find strong people and put them on the street. That's it. Yeah. Plant the seed. Ask questions, you know, and just find. Yeah, sure. No Way Thoughts. There was a Humanity. No, that was not the movie. I don't know that movie, but it was another movie with the guy. But yes, first right answer gets a T-shirt. So yeah, I'm messing with you. Hello, No Way Thoughts, and Martin Haley. Joe Dirt is here. Nice to see you, Joe. So we got. Oh my God, we're 14 people here. This is peer pressure at its best, right? But yeah, to new guys, I'm talking about Revolution today, and I want you to join in. As always, I'm gonna start out by spamming that link. There we go. And everybody who wants to join is free to do so. Here we are all good people. There's no limits on what you can do, especially now, because this is the Revolution edition. And let's see if we can get a guideline strike to that. That would be nice, you know. Then we have done the job right. So everybody's on the table today. I'm wearing this one today. I'm gonna say it for the algorithm. I think COVID is a hoax. I think it's pure science fiction, and it relates to a book that's written by George Orwell, 1984. So COVID is 1984, and it's pure science fiction, and it's a hoax made by people, but controlled by some dark forces behind them. So, yeah. Now you can give me that medical misinformation. No, that's not it today. Now I think this one is harassment. This one is harassing the people. I got one of those too. You know, they actually gave me a strike for harassing Bill Gates. That's the most funny part. So yeah, join if you want to. Otherwise, I'm just gonna sit here and yap about Revolution and what I think we should do. I think the first we need to do is come to terms with ourselves. We need to look at the people around us, the people we want to be with, and see how you fit in. And I'm not talking about the one you're trying to be in front of your family and stuff like that. I mean, the guy you are inside, or girl, how does this person fit in with the surroundings you're in? And that's very important, because if you can't be yourself in your own surroundings, between friends, between your family, then where? It will eat you up inside. That feeling will make you lonely, because you will hide that side of you away And if that's the choice, the situation you're in, you need to make that choice. You need to see if you are able to be that person in your surroundings, and if not, you need to change your surroundings. And that's been my goal for the last 12 months, but especially the last 6 months. I've tried to change my surroundings and so that I can fit in, basically. We have Bossacino here, lovely guy, writes some good poems. I'm gonna add him to the stream. Hey there, Bossacino.
Hello, Rebel.
Hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
Groovy.
Yeah, you're groovy, man. Yeah, I forget where you're from, Bossacino.
Essex in England, mate.
Oh, yeah. You're from Essex, yeah. So, yeah. How
Where
you
you
doing?
hardly ever see any masks, and where people ask you politely if you will do stuff because they don't want the consequences if they don't ask you politely.
Yeah. Well, I've stopped asking politely, but I'm starting replying politely instead. That seems to be my new narrative. So now I just do whatever I can to get attention, and when people approach me, I just try to be as polite as I can. So even though when they're ripping me a new one, I'm just gonna be calm and smile and just tell them how they're thinking is wrong and stuff like that. So yeah.
There's
How you
the
dealing
other
with it?
added one that you can do is when you're out, sometimes you can just walk into a shop where there's a few people, ask one question to somebody, and walk out. Go. Leave them questioning the question.
Yeah.
You don't have to be there for the result as long as you've asked the question.
You don't have to do anything. Just wear one of these.
Or wear one of them, yeah.
Yeah, it works. I don't have to say anything. I just walk around with this, and all of a sudden you get somebody who's complimenting your t-shirt. Actually, I get more positives than negatives. I was pretty surprised by that. So
the other one is some people, they just don't want to hear it. Some people don't want to listen, and that really aggravates and annoys me. So I flip it, I switch it, and all of a sudden I become, I need help. Please help me. I need to understand. Please tell me if I'm seeing this right or wrong. Please help me. Please research this and tell me if I'm seeing what I'm seeing. That also helps.
yeah,
I've got a couple of poems for you, by the way.
What? I didn't get that. You were just cutting out.
I have a couple of poems for you if you'd like.
Yeah, you go for it. Let's get a verse.
The first one I wrote in, I think it was 2017. I don't know if this was a bit of a premonition, but it was called Who Are You? Who are you? I just can't hear. You're mumbling through your mask. It was put there by the people who expect you to achieve their task. So are you or are you theirs, or covered for the rest? Stop being those for them and theirs. Be you for you. It's for the best.
Yeah, I like it. I like it because that is the first thing you need to go. You don't join a revolution. You don't join the salvation before you find yourself. So you need to find out who you are before you go anywhere. And
Yes.
that all most of the time that involves taking a good long look at that mirror. That image you don't want to look at. So yeah, that's where to start for sure.
And that was a kind of premonition one, because that was 2017, before I actually knew anything that there was going to do with masks and all the rest of it. But since finding out that like 2,000 units of carbon dioxide coming in is poisonous, and after 15 minutes of wearing a mask, you're inhaling 8,000 units per time, I understand that masks are very bad for you.
Oh, I know. I've been working with masks for 30 years. So I know all about that shit.
And the second poem, I thought I'd repeat one I said on Algo's, which is The Fight is Real. It was only 2 weeks, then they completely changed your life. Lockdowns and tests, economies under the knife, transport and travel, only if you are compliant. Internet rules and regs to silence the defiant. Now the final push, they want to taste the fear you feel. So they're coming for the kids. It's time to wake up. The fight is real.
Oh, that's right up my alley, because that's what it's all about, the kids.
It is.
It is. And that's why I think you should think hard for what you're doing right now, because first of all, if you have kids, I kind of don't see you having a choice in this. You need to fight, because right now it might not be your kids, but it will be. At some point, it will be everybody's kids. There's been a notion in my country. It came out 2 years ago, actually before this started. It was a notion from what do we call it? It's our parliament, saying that they had a goal to remove 10,000 children in Denmark from their parents within 10 years. And a notion like that is just scary when you hear it, And so, yeah, now it's about the kids. They are not even hiding it. It's out there in plain sight. They're coming for every kid that's not being indoctrinated in the right way. If you are,
which is why I was saying they've already drawn blood because of the old folks and the first wave. That when the truth comes out about that, people are going to be as sick as hell. But also on top of that, they've already declared war by stating that they're going to jab the kids. That's it. That's them declaring war. As far as I'm concerned, you mess with the kids, you've declared war on the rest of us.
Yeah,
that's it.
I don't even think that they're here to jab the kids. That's not what it's about. It's about exposing the parents that don't educate their kids by the system. They wanna see. They wanted the parents to stand out so they can take the kids from them. Right now they don't know. They can't tell the difference. It's just one big blurry mess from them. But they need something that divides the waters, and they can see who will stand by their rights for not vaccinating their kids. And when they do that, they're able to pinpoint you and put you in a big server in Langley or somewhere else in Europe. And they're going to take your kids away one way or the other, and they are not in a hurry. They'll just do it tippy toe for the next 10 years, but they'll get there. If you don't put your kids through the right education system, they are coming for your kids, because they will grow up and be, the next revolution, which they don't want, So yeah,
which is why I believe in the homeschooling, because one of the things that got to me in the past was it started off as one of the parents would go and work, one would stay at home and look after the kids. So there was always parental interaction of one form or another. If it wasn't male, it was female, but either way, it was one of the parents. And you had this general family interaction. By putting both parents at work and having the kids brought up by the schools takes out that parental interaction. So all the morals and values of the parents now become the morals and values of the teachers. And we've seen some of the batshit crazy teachers out there, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. And
so homeschooling, as far as I'm concerned, people that do that are doing an awesome job. Well done. Keep it up. Let's get more of it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not so easy here though. There are strict rules and supervision of homeschooling. So you basically have to teach them what do you call it? The colloquium. I lost that word. But you have to teach them what they're supposed to learn in school. And there's strict supervision about it, and they still have to go to exams and stuff like that. So, yeah, and you have to have a certified teacher to teach your kids. So you can't just do it on your own in Denmark, anyway.
Well, that's my poems over with. That's my saying done with, and I'll jump back in the chat. And
Yeah, good to see you, Basicino. Good to have you. So
thanks for having me up, brother.
you're always welcome here.
Thank you, and loads of love to everyone. And everyone, stay groovy.
Yeah, we will. Groovy. But yeah, Basicino from England. Yeah, we have some new people. Green Bodica Radiant, welcome. And Martin Haley, and who else joined up? Is there somebody I'm missing? I try not to, but you are so many today. You're writing so fast. So yeah, putting in the link again if anybody wants to join. Today we are talking about revolution, and I thought the poem by Basicino was very on the point. This is a revolution. This is them coming for our kids. That is what's going on, whether you want it to be true or not. And it is crazy times, Martin Haley. It certainly is. And in my country, it's very blatant. Now there are commercials for vaccinating your kids in the buses. You have 13-year-old boys standing like this and telling all the other 13-year-old boys that it's very cool to be vaccinated. That's where we're at now. They're no longer talking to the parents, they're talking to the kids too. And that is some scary shit. So yeah, I want to say something today because I think somebody is here who can't write messages. This is a message to YouTube on behalf of a friend that's normally here. They took down his channel, I think yesterday or the day before that, and that's not right, without even telling him why. So this goes out to YouTube. You can go fuck yourself. You can do whatever you want with me. I don't care. I will always be here. I'll just make new channels. But when you fuck with some of my friends, I get mad. And yesterday, you fucked with one of my friends. He's called Mr. Mensa on YouTube. And I think what you're doing is so terrible. Yeah. Well, I think that's basically it. Just me putting it out there that I'm on Mr. Mensa's side. I don't know what he said, but I don't care because I got some ridiculous strikes as well. And you need to change your prerogative if you want a platform like this. So I'm gonna, just like everybody else, I'm gonna do whatever I want to, and I'm just gonna keep pushing until they take this channel away from me. And then I'm gonna go join the others on some other streams. I know I want to shout out my good friend Mike from Colorado, Algorithm. He's recently made a jump to Odyssey and will be streaming over there. So I'll try to find a link for that and put in the subscription, and I'll be there as well. I just made a Odyssey account and will try to upload everything I get over there as well. So that is the new thing. Then I wanna I wanna compliment a talk that was on Mike's channel yesterday between him and two people I know really, really well, Mr. Sven P and Stacy B. Talking about the devil, and he jumps in. Alrighty then. So yeah, Sven P and Stacy B. I really regret that I didn't see Mike's link yesterday, because that was a conversation that I would have been into, because that was actually those three people, Mike, Stacy B, and Sven, is probably the best people I've met on the internet so far, and I've actually been through thousands of people everywhere on different platforms, and these are the three best people that I know. I consider them all my friends, and even though I've only met one of them in real life, that's Sven P, they're still my friends. So, and yesterday they were blowing smoke up my ass, so I'm gonna do the same today. I know that Sven and Stacy are rejoining on the Serious Truth server, I think. They had a show a year ago where they talked about all this nonsense, and if you want to have honest, good conversation, that's where you go. So I heard that they were starting up. It will, if I'm not wrong, Sven, it was in a week or two, I heard. So yeah, I just want to put that out there. And I love these people. I can say that with ease now. That's amazing, because I wouldn't say stuff like that a year ago. But I love these people, and even though they call me a teddy bear, that's all right. I still love you. So, yeah, I'm dropping the link if anybody wants to join. So, yeah, I'm ready for a revolution. I'm ready to fight. The only problem is I'm pretty fucking alone here. Sometimes I wish that I lived in a bigger country, like the US, because you can travel still around and meet new people. You'll be able to gather up in bigger groups than we can here in Denmark. It's so we have a word for it in Denmark. It's called the jantelov. I don't know how to translate that, but we have a unwritten law that states that you should not stick your head out of the pack. You should not think you're better than other people. And I can, Queen Bodiga Radiant. No worries. I can get out of the country, but the problem is getting back again, and yeah. A lot of people are moving to Mexico. Okay, I think that that requires for me to fly, and I'm not doing that right now. Apparently, my face is not pretty enough for the airplane companies. So, but other than the sheeps the lemmings that I'm living with, I kind of like my country. So I want to stay here as long as I can. This is last resort, but when shit hits the fan, I'm gonna leave this country, because there's no help here. People are way asleep in my country. I think you have better chance somewhere else. So yeah. And yeah, I will. I will never be silent. I can't do that. I've made my choice. I've looked myself hard in the mirror the last 12 months, and I promise you, there's been some soul searching for 12 months. And I've come to the conclusion that I can't go back. I can't climb out of that hole. And I don't really want to either, you know. I could go back and just be a perfect dad and devote myself to the system and let my kids growing up without knowing any of this shit, you know. Give them an easy life. But I can't do that, you know, because I want something better for my kids than what I have. And isn't it what we all want? Isn't that what parents in all the history of parents want? They want something better for their kids. They want to correct their own issues before they pass it on to their kids. And right now, I can't deliver this narrative of reality to my kids, knowing what it has meant to me, you know, not knowing. Let me rephrase that. If I had a chance, no, if somebody would have told me this 20 years ago, I would give my right arm for that shit, you know. I wish there was somebody who took me and showed me this shit 20 or 30 years ago, you know, whenever I was ready for it. Because that would have saved me for so much, you know. And I want my kids to have that choice. I want my kids to have an opportunity to choose their own path. So I'm not preaching to my kids, but I am showing them droplets and putting those seeds in and creating the narrative of the reality they see and the narrative of the reality I see. So they have both. And that's what I think is the way to go. As I said before, I'm not a religious guy, but I see it a little like religion, you know. You can't, I don't want to push religion and stuff like that, political issues and sports and anything on my kids, you know. I want them to have a choice and make their own choice so they get to do what they want and what they love. That is what it's all about. Without that, what's life worth, you know? So we grow up and spend half our day on a job, you know, and spend the other half on shit we don't want to do, you know? No, I want something better for my kids. If it wasn't for my kids, I wouldn't give a shit. I wouldn't be sitting here having a revolution. I really didn't, you know? I wouldn't have gotten this far down the rabbit hole if it wasn't for my kids. That's the God honest truth, you know? So, yeah. I can't let the world burn because my kids have to grow up in it. That's the message. Yeah. So everybody needs to make their own decision, you know? Because as I said, if I didn't have kids, I wouldn't do this. So I could perfectly understand why people who don't have kids would bury their head in the sand. You know, I know we are hurting. I know somebody is hurting more than me, you know, and I felt with you. I felt Sven's pain. Let's say it like that. I felt your pain. I just don't know what to say to you because I couldn't imagine myself being in that situation you're in. I'm sorry if you want me to shut up, just say so. But it has been hard for me to be there for you. And for that, I do apologize. I would be that guy that's there and supports you. I'm just not very good at that. I'm not built like that. But I know that you have gone through some really tough times, and just know that if you really need me, I'm right here. You know, I do whatever it takes. If you need me to come to England, I'll put on a fucking mask and go to England. You know, and you know what that means to me. So yeah. Yeah, that out of the way. What else do I want to say today? I think we can stop him. I truly believe we can stop him in their tracks or slow him down. You know, we don't need to stop him. We just need to slow him down. As you know, I do some martial arts on the side, and that way of thinking I compare to my martial arts. I do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It's a grappling art, and in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you don't think 5 steps ahead. You really don't. You know, you are reading reactions to try to be 1 step ahead. You know, but you're always in the moment, and you feel the reaction of your opponent. And I feel that's what we need to do. Don't think of the end game. Just react to what you're seeing right now. Don't dwell too much on the past either, you know. Just be here and try to inform what you're seeing in a way so people will get it, you know. And I think that is the calm fashion that I'm trying to do still, because I'm a very passionate guy, and I'm a very I have a temper. I do when it comes to this stuff. But in the last 6 to 12 months, I've learned to control that, and I'm actually in a pretty good place now. You know, I'm in a very, very nice little bubble now, and I can go in and out of that bubble all time of the day and stay sane. Well, that is as long as I got something to talk to here. So that is also what I'm doing with you guys. I'm trying to keep myself sane, and the only way to do that is by having good people. And well, speaking of the devil again, here's a good man. So, how you doing, my friend?
Good evening.
No, it was not my end. How you
How we
doing,
doing?
Smitty?
All right.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Sorry about that. There's something happened with my volume. I couldn't hear you for 1 second there, and I just fiddled about with my phone, and hey presto, it's working. It's amazing. Like what my gran used to say, just give your television a good whack and then it works again.
Yeah, I tried that. It doesn't work with the phones.
It doesn't work with any new equipment. You'll end up breaking it. You have to buy a new one.
Yeah.
How are you
So,
doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm so glad to see you. I'm so sad I missed you guys yesterday. That would what one awesome stream. I would have loved to have been there. So
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was cool. Yeah, we wanted to kind of find the right moment to do it, because it's been, you know, we all have very busy lives at the moment, even though we sometimes feel we're not doing anything, yet we are, right? And it's like, I don't know, and you got so much to say because so much seems to be constantly happening and occupying your mind. You know what it's like. It's like
yeah.
you don't know where to look first half the time. But yeah, it was a shame, but that doesn't matter, because that's the beginning of us wanting to get more involved. Now I want to certainly get more involved and pick up. I feel like I've sort of after having hooked up with Stacey, but through very unusual circumstances very recently and everything else, it's kind of changed things in a way that only people outside of the fence seem to ever experience. Right?
Yeah, get it.
It's bizarre how life works. But there's no such thing as coincidence, that's for sure.
That is my conclusion as well, and it's been very clear, you know. So yeah, I've seen a lot of weird shit, you know, and it's just getting more rapidly. It's getting amped up every single day. You know, it's just like, well, what you watched a week ago is just like old news already, you know. So
Right.
it's pretty crazy.
Right. Yeah. So, how are things with you in Denmark? How are things going on there? Is it a little bit of a calm before the storm? Is everything kind of sort of a little bit in a bit of a limbo
everybody just
situation?
forgot. Everybody
Everyone
has
just
forgotten
That's handy.
until the next one hits. You know, it's crazy. I feel like right now I feel like I'm living in the twilight zone. You know, somewhere between good and evil. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. It's like they have forgotten what was going on just 2 months ago. Everybody was just running around with vaccines up their asses and mask and all that shit, and now nobody's even talking about it no more. It's a conversation for the elderly at bingo, you know. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. You don't see everybody you see with a mask in Denmark now are tourists. All the Danish people have dropped them. So now you have two tourists, two Asian guys in the train, sitting there with their mask between hundreds of people. They're the only two wearing them. It's just crazy and stupid now, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's all gone a bit strange, I've got to say. But all we can do is it's kind of what I was trying to allude to. And Stacey, of course, by the way, she sends her love. I just spoke to her a second ago. She's a little bit busy at the moment. She wants to come on, but she does send her regards and her love, and she's listening in when she can. And she can pop in, she will do. So I just thought I'd pass that on. I'm under orders to pass that on.
Yeah, I'm just gonna shout out Mike. Hey, how you doing, Mike? Good to see you.
Algo's in as well. Yes, hey Algo.
Yeah, I missed it yesterday. I'm so sorry. That is that's on me. I fell asleep without checking.
Yeah. Yeah, we all haven't really spoken to each other for a while, not in that setting. We must do that sometime. We'll have to do that sometime. Where we can get a group of people together and have a nice conversation. In a channel somewhere or some sort of group setting somewhere. That'd be great. Just to have a nice little.
Yeah, just holler. I'll be there anytime.
Yeah, I mean, just to hang out. It was something that Stacey and I were talking about today as well. During the course of the afternoon, it was things like
I'm still waiting for a conversation, to get behind those weird circumstances. There's still a story to be told there, I think.
There is a story to be told, and of course, in certain dice game, you would call it ladies' privilege. So I'll leave that to Stacey to say anything if she wants to or not, whatever. Yeah. I'm not gonna. I'll keep my. I'll keep a back seat on that one for the moment because it's yeah. If you think about it too much about how things happen and how things come to be, then it can get you all in a bit of a muddle because some things you just can't explain. It just happened. I mean, we have maybe a closer explanation as to what could be going on, but it's still only theory, isn't it? It's still only a speculation. We don't really know, but it certainly ain't coincidence. Certain things just aren't. In fact, a lot of things aren't. We've come to learn that now, haven't we?
Yeah. Then you meet up with Stacey,
Right.
So maybe it is there for a purpose.
Maybe, and we spent a lot of time when she was here, believe it or not, talking about this because it occupies your mind. It surrounds you. You're confronted with it every day, whether you go to the shop for a packet of cigarettes or whatever it is. It's there. It's in your face. It's in the radio. It's on the TV. It doesn't matter whether you listen to radio or watch the TV, because you're going to talk to your shopkeeper. You're going to hear the taxi driver talking about it. You're going to hear people on the buses talking about it. It doesn't matter. You can't escape it.
No.
But the problem is most people who are talking about it are asleep.
Yeah. And it's insane. The propaganda is insane, though.
It's mental.
It's
mental.
Insane. I didn't. Did I show you the? No, I haven't shown you that one. Let's see if I can find it. Just a sec.
While you do look.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, while you do look for that, we were mentioning this yesterday, right? Yeah. We keep getting these figures rammed down our throats about how many people allegedly have had, the medical procedures done to them or not, right? And yet the media campaign is at its highest it's ever been here in the UK. They are really pushing, and they're really trying to make it attractive to consider your kids and all that sort of stuff. I mean, they're really pulling out the stops. It's mental. But anyway, there we go.
Yeah, I think I found it now. I just see if I can bring it up. It was on the desktop.
Okay.
It was, I think, was it this one? Yeah, look at this one. This is right around the corner of my house. It's 50 yards from here. Look at this. First, you have a McDonald's sign to get people's attention. The next one is say, while you are waiting, you can send a regard to your grandparents to get vaccinated. You know. And the last one is say yes to the vaccine, where you have a kid on it. So you have 3 signs right next to each other. You have a McDonald's to get their attention, and then you have 2 with one with your grandparents and a little child.
Yeah, and they do this. They've used the same technique. They've used the same technique, Brian, there as they do here in the UK. They're using a lot of language with the flu jab, right? And what they're doing is they're trying to make the word jab and vaccination a very household kind of name. You know what I mean? They're trying to very normalize it in any way, shape they can, right?
Yeah. And as you said yesterday, I heard you talking about it as well. You know, if you have this all brought out propaganda corona crap, you know, you can't have you can't have 80% people vaccinated or something like that, 70 or 75%. You know, that's just insane. If you have 3/4 already vaccinated, you wouldn't roll out a propaganda machine like this. This is just stupid, you know. So so if you are having a product that you want out there, you would stop when you had reached some, 60% or something. Now you don't need the propaganda no more, because you know that the people who already got it is going to convince family and friends to get it. You don't need it no more. So that just tells me that the numbers aren't right, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And if people were to pay attention, which has been my complaint right from the start, that people are just not looking properly because they're too pig ignorant and lazy and too comfortable and too blind and too fat and too, don't get me started, then nothing's going to come of it. You could literally go up to people and tell them straight that, look, we're doing a depopulation program, and I'm afraid we're going to have to knock down the world's population by about 9.5 tenths. Well, that's great. You may as well tell that to people. They'll still say yes and
you
no.
know what they would say? They would say, yeah, it's probably for the good.
Exactly.
Probably for the greater good.
Probably for the greater good. Well, I've been killed, but at least it's for the good.
Yeah.
Well, great, thanks.
It's for my granddaughter can live. I have to die so my granddaughter can live.
And don't forget, you throw into the mix all this science or pseudoscience, you know, and the notion that we're all specks of dust in the middle of a huge vacuum, ever expanding, impossible to measure. Then the insignificance of human life gets amplified to such an extent that people then stop caring, because they think to themselves, well, what's the point? It's the greater good, like you just said.
Yeah.
It goes away from spirituality in an absolute fashion. And that's the danger. We're talking about a full-blown, full-out spiritual war here.
Yeah, and I've seen it. We have seen it before, Sven.
Absolutely.
When you show people, for example, you remember when you was going around showing people the moon landing was fake.
Yeah.
Remember people's reaction when they saw it? Oh, it was probably that was probably a good reason for that. When they finally saw that was fake, they say that's probably a good reason for that. It's probably to beat the Russians or anything like that. They came up with all these excuses, and they would do the same if they find out this is bullshit, because they have to diminish their own guilt in this, and the only way to do that is if it's for the greater good. So is it not for the greater good in one way? They're just going to change the narrative and keep it in the greater good. So,
yeah, absolutely. It's a world gone mad. It's totally upside down. Everything is upside down.
Sorry. Good to
Sorry,
see
go ahead.
you. Yeah, just calling out Matt Simon, a nice little Matt Pyman. Sorry, that was a clip. So yeah, go on.
No, yeah, we were talking about the greater good and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
When did we talk last, Brian? When was this? I think it was when Stacey was here, wasn't it? About what, 5 weeks ago? 6 weeks ago?
So, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
It was in the summertime still, I think.
Oh, those were the days. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like a long time ago. I had my coat on earlier. Yeah. So I've since I don't know if I told you that evening, I can't remember now, but I since resumed work at the football club where I work, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but they decided to move me as well to a different part of the
what does that mean?
Well, what does it mean exactly? This is the thing, isn't it? What does that mean? Well, it means, to me, it means quite clearly we're on to you, but you know, you've still got a job if you behave.
Yeah, you need to change your ways a little bit.
Yeah, that's exactly what it means. Exactly.
So I have No Way Thoughts in the back. Is it all right if I invite him?
Go for what you want, man. It's your show. Yeah, I'm grateful to be on it.
I haven't seen you for ages. If you want to talk for an hour, do so. But
listen, people are sick of hearing my voice, I think, after yesterday's 3.5 hours. So I'll give it a break. I'll give you a lot of break, I think.
I'll invite No Way then.
Okay.
Hey, good evening.
How are you doing, my friend?
Oh, not too bad, not too bad. Watching all the little ghouls and goblins walk by. See, I get to cheat.
Oh,
I
yeah,
get
it's still early at where you at. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's about 5 after 6 here.
Yeah.
And see, I sit here on the security camera and watch the house for the hoodlums that like to throw eggs and everything else, you know.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we get a few, you know, not like it used to be, because a lot of houses around here no longer give out candy and stuff like that. So
why don't we just use Halloween to teach the kids to do evil stuff?
Right, exactly. But you know, I've said it a few times to people and everything. I said, everyone said, well, it's all Hallows Eve. It's all about Satan. It's all about evil. I said, yeah, but look how God uses it. People take their money and buy candy and give it away for free.
Yeah.
So how much more godly can you get than taking your money to buy something to give it to somebody else for free, for nothing, you know? And I said, so you got to look at it through, you know, another perspective. But you know,
you're also teaching kids to go from door to door and back.
Well, yeah, that too, because it's getting to the point the way they're going to try to starve Americans into compliance, that they're not going to be begging. They're going to be showing up with fire sticks, and they're going to be demanding it. But you know, you're talking tonight revolution.
Yeah.
And you know, it is needed. It's been needed for quite a few years now, even before the, you know, the savior that wasn't, that people still are on that train. And it's funny that they can't see the truth. But this is what scares them. See, when you talk revolution, what the powers like to do is they like to convince people that you want an armed, bloody revolution, because that's what revolution is to a lot of people, because the fear is so embedded within them. The fear of something right now that doesn't even exist. And there's no possible way to convince these people that, you know, you're afraid of something that doesn't exist. You weren't afraid of all the flu seasons and the cold, and so why are you so afraid of this when there's no proof? But they're afraid, and that's what they use. So when you start talking revolution, well, then they're going to try to discredit you through, well, they want bloody revolution. They want they want to kill people, they want to shoot people, they want this and that. But yet there's a thing that we used to talk about on the podcast many years ago. A guy from Minneapolis came up with it, and it's called practical anarchy. And what it is, it's non-compliance. It's as simple as non-compliance. If you stand alone in non-compliance, it's easy for them to destroy you. But you get 10, 15, 20,000 people together that will not comply. That is also a revolution. And there doesn't even have to be a gun involved.
No.
It's just you do not comply. You take 5,000 people, all go to a shopping center, and no, we're going to come in here and you're either going to take our money or we're going to take our money somewhere else. And 9 times out of 10, those people are just going to sit back, throw up their hands and say, go ahead, get in here, get your stuff and get out. That's practical anarchy, because you're not complying. You're not complying with the mask, the face diaper. You're not complying with the medical device. You're just gonna go in, you're gonna do your shopping, and you pay for your stuff and you leave. You don't go in and ransack the place. You don't go in and steal. You do it in a practical way.
Yeah.
And this
But
is
you
where
can,
right,
you
yeah.
can go further than that. For me, that it's more than that. It's not only about the narratives that's pushed on you. I think you have to change your ways in everyday life. I think you need to pull yourself out of the system in order to fight it. As long as you have your head in the ass of the donkey, it's gonna kick you.
Oh yeah, of course it
That was
is.
a bit weird, but you
No,
get it.
no, you're right. You're right. If you're standing at the south end of a northbound moose, it's gonna kick you.
Yeah.
It's going to. It's gonna drive you up. And that's what it is. And now when you look at what's going on here, this is exactly what they've been pushing in every country around the world. And it is dependency upon the government. That's what the whole thing was last year with, oh, here's your stimulus check.
Yeah.
Even though the money they were giving you wasn't enough for anything. And you couldn't even say, no, I don't want it, because it would just show up in the mail. And here you go. So if you want to hand me $2,800 in all, then I'm going to take it and I'm going to use it to discredit you. And I'm going to use it to fight against you. And I'm not going to comply. And
in Denmark, they hooked in all the businesses last year. All the
Right.
business that were able to support themselves and support other people. But you had to make a contract. They were helping out these small the bars and the restaurants and the cafes. But you had to sign a contract to get that money. So that was a way to bring him into the fold and.
Right.
Now they basically own you because you signed a contract when it's needy times, you're gonna play by the rules. So
Well, that's what they done here in America for the people that, if you don't lay off your employees and you keep all of your employees, then here, fill out this document and submit it to us, and we will pay your wages for these people for this amount of time. And get this loan from us or get this money from us. And that's what suckered people in.
yeah.
Because like in Canada, when you look at Canada, they were giving this basic income, they were called, and they were getting $3,000 a month to sit on their duff at home. And in America, they weren't forcing people to go back to work. They were giving them their unemployment and then adding $600 a week on top of that unemployment, so that when the businesses open back up, who was going to go to work? They're not going to shut me off in this sweet unemployment. So I'm going to sit home and I'm going to party all day and I'm going to party all night and I'm going to do whatever I want and I'm going to collect. But now what screwed the people here, the rude awakening they got in America, what they didn't realize is that any unemployment check you get, you have to pay income tax on. So the people that didn't have them deduct income tax out of the unemployment check, when it came April of 2021, these people are sitting back. Well, what do you mean I owe you $5,000? Well, yeah, you owe income tax, dude. So you've been sitting back for a year thinking, you know, socialism is so great. Well, now it's time to pay the piper.
Yeah.
So, you know, and this is where people are at today. Like right now, there are businesses out there, and the reason they can't function at full capacity is because people won't work, because they don't have to, because the government is paying them to sit at home.
Well, can I just interject there for 1
Yeah.
second, please?
Yeah,
Hi,
go
Noah.
ahead.
Nice to meet you, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
A lot of parallels to the UK. We've had this battle here now for about a year and a half with small and medium-sized businesses, for example, and what the British government, or the British puppets, I should say, have done. Because don't forget, government aren't in charge of anything, right? Well, what the British government have been ordered to do is have what they call a furlough system, which basically pays you up to a certain percent of your income, not your full amount. And it's only up to a certain percent. So let's say, for argument's sake, they capped it at 80%. You'll get a furlough per month of up to 80%. That could be 3%, right? So it's always in the wording, as we know. Now, the cleverness of it all is that a few months before that, I went on a demo to London, and I put a video out. I went there with a friend of mine called Caroline, and it was to do with a parliamentary hearing they were having. And there was some sort of subcommittee, right? And that was in the days when I was getting very, very heavily involved with the demos. But the reason why we went there this day, because it went unreported. And what it was that they were talking about whether or not to incur or to bring down restrictions onto people who refuse the jab, right? And the reason why I'm getting to the point in a minute, it's a little bit long-winded, but bear with me. The reason why I'm explaining this is because one of the caveats to this decision was that, however, employers could have those decisions, that they could make those decisions themselves. They wouldn't fall under the auspices of the ruling that was made by the government, which was actually the government cannot enforce restrictions on people who refuse the jab in the UK. That, by the way, is set in stone right now. So anybody who thinks they have to take one, they don't, right? But they just don't know the law because they don't look it up properly and they don't inform themselves correctly. That's why Stacey and I were talking about the misinformed, the uninformed yesterday on Algo's show, because this is exactly what we're dealing with. People do not know enough information to then be able to stand their ground and say, actually, I do know a little bit what I'm on about, and I know that isn't necessary or whatever. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because what they want is, through the employer thing, that's an easy way of getting people jabbed.
Yeah.
Right.
So what you do is you keep them employed for so long until you get that medical procedure done. And then the furlough system stops, which it just has in the UK, which means you then roll over into what they call a universal income system, which has been tried and tested in Wales only a few months ago, where everybody gets put on the same average income, no matter what job you did. You could be a taxi driver, you could be a postman, police officer, doesn't really matter, right?
That's what they want, right? Just
Right,
work.
And that's what they're testing right now here in the UK with thousands of households. Nobody talks about it because it's just like one of those little governmental experiments that goes on all the time, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's right there. It's happening. It's being rolled out right in front of us, just like the cashless society that we keep talking about a lot. It's being rolled out right in front of us, but very subtly. See, this is the thing. It doesn't come with a big announcement, right? From tomorrow, you're all mugs. No, we're mugs, but we're subtly made into mugs, right? Because
right. Well, what a lot of people don't realize is the amount of so-called legislative bills that are passed all the time in your local government, our state government, our county government, and our federal government here in America. People don't know about them because they're not talking about them. So a lot of people are conditioned, if they're not talking about it, it's not happening.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, see, like what happened here, just in this state where I am, in the state of Maine, last year, they said, okay, you can have your mask exemptions. Okay, for people, someone like me with 40 to 45% of my lung function left, that's all I have left. And for me to try to wear a mask, I can't breathe. I can't breathe anyway. So for me to put a mask on, I can't breathe. So they would allow someone like me to have a medical exemption so that I could go around without one. But if a store is caught allowing somebody in without a mask, then they're getting $10,000 to $15,000 in fines for allowing people in.
Yeah, that's
So
how they force. Yeah, you're right, and that's how they force the store's hands to
right.
to push through with these stupid policies, these in-store policies. But the problem
Right.
is, and this is where I caught one of the chemists out or pharmacies here in Bournemouth, where I live. I had a full-blown argument with a woman in there, which is not like me. Well, it is actually sometimes, because I don't see that. I've got to the point now where I don't let sentiments get in the way anymore. If someone's going to act like a total idiot like that to me and not think before they open their mouths, then I'm going to give them both barrels back. And I pointed it out to this woman very clearly. I said to her, you have to understand one thing, with all respect, UK law is not superseded by your shop policy ruling. UK law is UK law. It's the dome above the earth. It's not one of the little bylaws that a shop can decide to out trump and go, no, you know what? I don't care about UK law. In our shop, you have to wear sandals, or in our shop, you have to wear green. Where does it say that? It doesn't say that anywhere. But because the shop decides it, we have to do it. No, you don't. But not enough people stand at the door and go, we're not doing it. This is the problem.
Right. And that's the problem. People don't know, like here in America, people don't know the law. They don't know how it's written. Now, where I was part of my town government for a lot of years, I was an appeals judge for the zoning and stuff within our town. And how that worked is I had to know how state law was. I had to know what the law is, how it's read, how it's implemented, and I had to compare state law with federal zoning laws and our town zoning ordinances. So I had to know all of these laws. Well, the side effect of all that is you get to know how to read and understand their doublespeak. And you learn a lot of other laws on top of that. So if somebody were to come up to me and try to talk about certain things, I can rattle right off the laws right to them. No, the law reads this. This is what the law says. This is how the law is. And I know the law. Where other people, they don't have a clue.
No.
And
Okay. But can you really blame him?
no,
You
no.
have
You
read
can't
the
blame-
law. You just see the wording. I wanted to look up my rights doing all this, and it took me ages to find out what was my rights really were, because it was written in a context and a wording that normally people don't understand. You have to find people who can translate that shit to you.
And
Right.
can I just mention to that what
Yeah.
rights? Because when it comes down to it, and you actually have to, those rights have to be translated into reality in certain situations, which can happen. It happened to me. I've got it on video on my channel. You can see what happened to people's rights on a coach trip on the way to London, for
Yeah.
example. Rights count for nothing when police officers are coming in with their uniforms who aren't there to know the law. They're there to enforce it, right? So you're talking to Deadwood and you're talking to robots in character. So you've got no chance having mediation with them and talking to them and gaining any ground with them. So this is the issue. So even if you're knowledgeable around things, it doesn't get you very far in a lot of everyday situations, because the people you're going to be confronted with are not on that level. They don't care about that. They're following orders.
In that situation there, I saw it. I was there. I saw it as it played out, and in that situation, abandon your rights, because these people don't understand your rights. They think they don't believe in your rights, but I think your rights are still there. You just
On
can't
paper.
take that conversation with these robots, as we call them. you know. But in the end, if it was gone further than that, if you were arrested and you were charged for something, I think higher up in the system, those rights still matter. I do
Yeah.
believe so. You know,
But do you
so
believe? Yeah, but I mean, let's face it, right? We have a Magna Carta in the UK. The Americans have their Constitution, where it starts with "We the
exactly,
people." How I try
exactly.
not to laugh when I read those three words. Uh, but it couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, we call our political process a democratic process, and democracy in Greek means people power, right? So that couldn't be further from the truth. So yet again, all they do, even with giving these things a title, they lie. It couldn't be further from the truth.
Well, that's it, you know, and that's where I usually set a lot of people off. It's like, well, how do you know a politician's lying? And they go, well, how? I said, his lips are moving.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
and I can see it right now today. I've watched some people that I know, and they're very nice people. They're very kind people. They're very godly people. But yet they're still sitting there, and all they're talking about is this politician, that politician. Look what this politician is saying. And it's like, what part of this don't you understand? How many times are you going to listen to these people? Then you go and you vote for them and you put them in office just to have the old buyer's remorse. It's like, what do you mean they're not doing what they said? Well, why would they?
Well,
Why
that's
would
Yeah,
they?
why would
exactly.
they? All
And
the
this is
others don't.
yeah. And I was going to say, this is the thing. People shouldn't get angry with politicians. What they should do is take a step back and understand their role and what they actually are there to carry out. It's
Oh,
their
yeah.
job. It's their job to obfuscate, to be ambiguous, and all the rest of it. That's their job. They get given orders
Right.
to carry out. They have spin doctors and handlers, and that's it. And they come and they go. They're here today, gone tomorrow. No one will talk about Biden in 20 years' time. No one will talk about Boris Johnson in 10 years' time. It's the way it is.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
people have to understand that, and then maybe they would get how most of this is just theatre. Half of it you don't even have to pay attention to, really, when they open their mouths.
No.
But there are
See-
some things they give away, though, however.
Yeah, they tell on themselves. See,
Yeah.
right here in this town, we had a guy that was running for selectman to unseat one of them that had been in there for 12 years or so, and he was as crooked as a snake. So I have a flag on a flagpole that says F Biden, except it's spelled right out. F Biden. And I think he thought it was a Trump flag. He comes walking right in and goes, "That's my man right there. That's my man." And I says, "So you're for Biden? Huh?" I said, "That's F Biden." Then a little bit of breeze come up and, "Oh, no, not him." And he starts talking about how he's a teacher. And that's where you're the one that pulled into my driveway to talk to me because you want to get elected into town office. So you're going to undergo my scrutiny. So he says he's a teacher. So I start bringing up history. And he had it all wrong. And I said, well, no wonder our kids are graduating from high school with a third grade education. You don't even know why the Civil War was fought. You have no idea what Hitler was all about. You have no idea who funded World War II. You have no idea about the Council for Foreign Relations. So what kind of teacher are you?
Well, this is the problem, isn't it? This is a similar conversation I was having with a friend who's decided to homeschool, right? And the conversation was about, right, okay, you have to learn what you're told to learn to be able to jump through the hoops and pass your exams because they test you on the stuff they want you to be tested on, right?
Exactly.
And it's the same with teachers. They regurgitate, as you well know, no way, right? And Brian, you know that as well. So they're there to just regurgitate and pass on to the kids what they've been taught. They have a certificate on their wall, so they feel important, right? And the problem is that they don't even have the capacity, really, at least not to the outside world, at least, to give their version of what they've learned. They just regurgitate. That's it. Now, when you're homeschooling your kid, ideally, you want them to learn what the school tells them because they have to pass their exams. But you'd also want to parallel teach them your knowledge as well, right?
Right.
and then balance that out and make sure that the kid understands, yeah, you have to learn the bullshit, unfortunately, to get by in life, but it's also good to know the truth kind of thing. Now, why wouldn't a teacher, for example, support that kind of notion or support that kind of way of approaching it? Because you're not starving the kid of a school education by doing that. All you're doing is you're offering them an alternative as well, right?
And in Denmark, it takes 4 years to become a teacher. And if you just came out of school, why do you need to be in school for 4 years to teach what you just learned for the last 10 years? You know, it's all about in those 4 years, you learn how to indoctrinate other people. That's what you learn.
Exactly.
You don't learn the what do you call it? The equilibrium, or no? What do you call it? The stuff.
The curriculum, right?
The curriculum, yeah.
Right, and that's what it is.
Learning.
It's indoctrination. And you take what happens in America is that the teachers will only regurgitate what they're told to regurgitate, because after 10 years through these corrupt teachers unions, they get what they call tenure. And once they get tenure, you can't fire them. They're there for life. And these teachers, I mean, they hate anybody that tells their child anything other than what they say. Right now, they will suspend your child right out of a school in America if you stand up and say, no, God only created 2 genders. Get out of here.
Well, that would be that you would probably have the same thing happen to you in the UK as well, the way that's gone at the moment.
Right. Yeah. And this is what they're doing. And, you know, and that's why when it comes to the flags that I have on I have 9 of them. I have 9 flags flying. And what I do is if the haters and the little snowflakes and stuff, if they hate something, I don't have to say anything to them. I just put a flag up. And it flips them out. They hate it. They hate the American flag being there. They hate the American flag that's upside down. Do not tread on me. It flips them right out. The Blue Lives Matter flag really sets them off. But the one that tricks their trigger the most is the Confederate battle flag.
Yeah.
And it drives these people nuts. Because, you know, it's like, what? You're going to shame me? Why should I be ashamed of what I know to be true and for my belief? I will not change my belief for you. And if you know, so many people today they try to come up to me and they try to attack me on my faith in God. And that is where they really fail, because I haven't studied that Bible inside and out and all the truth about it for the past 15 to 20 years to say anything other than the truth, and that's it. If the truth hurts you, well, too bad. I'm sorry.
You know, sorry to interrupt you. I was just going to say, and that's just one of many examples of how communication breakdown seems to be quite a thing at the moment in society in general, doesn't it? I mean, trying to hold a normal conversation with somebody who may be of a different opinion is very difficult. I've noticed that people get triggered extremely quickly, and I include myself in that in the past. I'm not too bad now because I'm really trying and training myself to really, really, really try and work things out differently for my own protection, right? Because I need my energy elsewhere. If I want to make it to 50 in 2 years and then maybe even 60, then I best start sort of going a bit more inward and not worrying, not letting the people, places and things affect me too much, or the exterior stuff, right? The stuff that people seem to live for and the stuff that people die for, and they forget all the stuff in between, right? But anyway, I was going off on a tangent there.
If you watch the schools, what do the schools do? What do they start right when they're in kindergarten, right? And in the first grade, they start teaching these kids how to, if somebody says something that the teacher says is wrong, then the kids are taught to get right in that person's face. Yeah. So as they get older and older and older, they don't understand that that's not the way to be. That radicalism is going to be what's going to put you in an early grave. It's going to be, you know, when you show up for a job interview and you've got more metal on your face than is in your automobile, why do you think they're not hiring you? You're showing up with, you know, I mean, look at, I've seen some of these kids today, and what disgusts me the most, I'm right by a middle school. These are 8 to 12-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
And I am watching young girls walk out of there, and they look like they just stepped off the street corner in New York City. And it's like, what parent is allowing their 10, 11, 12-year-old girl to dress like a prostitute and go to school?
Well,
where
here's
not the
another
kids' fault.
conversation that touches on a conversation we had yesterday as well about the clough that's growing between parents or guardians and their children. For many reasons, parents being forced to either work more jobs than they should do to get by, kids being, how can I put it, distracted more and more through even more social media. Now they're doing more and more schooling from home, which means they're using their online stuff even more than they already are, and all that sort of thing. I think there's a genuine push, and it's done by design, to not just split society but split families and split that parenting chain as well. I remember speaking to the reason why I'm saying this is I remember speaking to a friend of mine a couple of years ago who lives in France, and she's a school teacher, and she was saying to me that one of the biggest debates they have in their schools is how come schools have been turning into almost like parenting homes now for the kids. Because, you know, the kids are almost offloaded to school in the morning and picked up in the afternoon by the parents, and they spend half their time not learning, but confiding in the teachers about their problems.
And you have women 22 or 24 without kids telling you how to parent. You know, it's crazy.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, but that's down to the
people
parents, the kids who are not capable of doing it, and just sending their kids to school, because the schools are almost, they're functioning almost like as a daytime nanny rather than a school.
Yeah, at
the same time,
women that could be my daughter, you know, trying to tell me what's right and wrong when you're educating your kids. You know, it's crazy now, and I see it every time I go down there. There's some notion they just have to tell me something, you know, that they think I did wrong, you know, and I just do the same every time. Mind your own business. You know?
Well, remember something. It's something they don't teach much anymore, and it's very hard to find the quotes. But when you look at what Adolf Hitler said, and when he was talking about his Hitler Youth and how he was indoctrinating them, he that owns the youth owns the future. So when we look at the people, the Marxists, the cultural Marxists that run our schools and that teach our children, that is exactly what they're doing. They are owning your children.
The Jews have been saying it for 400 years, you know. Give me a child until it's 7, you know, and I'll give you the man. So
that's right, exactly.
So, it's been there for ages. It's nothing new.
Right. No, it's not. And
it's always been about the children, mate. It's always been about the children. And when you look at even the old Brothers Grimm stories, going back in the day, all these children's stories, and you know, you look at the Pied Piper of Hamelin, for example, and all these old stories, they're all about kidnapping kids, influencing kids, all that sort of stuff, scaring children, leading them to bad ways, all that sort of thing. They're all frightening stories when you look at them. I mean, I remember having a book at home with all the Brothers Grimm stories in them, and half of them literally are grim, you know, just like they're called. And you wonder why all that sort of stuff is even out there for kids to read in the first place, by the way. But that's another story. You could do a whole show on that.
Yeah, right.
We will.
Yeah, we will, because that's fascinating in itself. You know, the origins of nursery rhymes. Why are things like that there for kids to read? You know, what are you trying to indoctrinate? What is that? Let's put it another way. It's another form of predictive programming, almost, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is.
We have commercials now straight directed at the kids now. you have 13-year-old boys. I don't know if you heard me say this earlier, but you have 13-year-old boys standing on a poster with their thumbs up and say, "I got the vaccinations, so I'm part of the cool kids now." You know, that's what they're doing. They're speaking to
Right.
the kid directly without the around the parents. You know, they want to hit the kids directly, and that's insane.
Right, because it's like what LEB was just put in the chat room about, the media and social media. Social media was not there to connect the people. Social media was there to indoctrinate the people. So now, instead of us sitting here and we can be friendly and we can become acquaintances and even, what they would call internet friends, we care about each other. We ask about, how things are going. We keep an eye on each other.
Mm.
And that's what freaks them out, because social media was to be, you need to be part of, like you just said, the cool gang. If you
Yeah.
got one person attacking you on social media, you think your world has just ended.
Well,
Your
social,
world, right? Oh
yeah.
boy, somebody just attacked me on Facebook. Oh no, I'd better try to fight that because people might feel bad about. You're never going to meet these people in person. You could walk down the street and walk right by this person, and they would not even know it was you.
But you know what? There's another function of social media, and it's the more sinister one that we don't talk about. And that is it's all information gathering and data harvesting. And whilst all the
Yes.
kids are
Oh
chatting
yes.
away and talking to each other about all their innermost secrets and fears and all the rest of it, everything you do online, on a computer, on a telephone, on a smartphone, anything at all you do, it always leaves a trace and a footprint. Everything.
Right.
Right.
Do any
So
of you
anything.
remember? Oh, sorry,
Go
sir.
on, Brian. Sorry, right.
Now, if you just finish, if you want.
No, I was just going to say that's all. I'm just going to say that, the social media for me is much more sinister than that. Yes, it has that thing going on with the peer pressure and the kids and all that sort of stuff. But going beyond that, if you think about it, I mean, I remember when I was working in HR, human resources, this is going back 10 years now in Germany. In part of the interview process, the Facebook profile page of one of the candidates was brought up in the interview. Now, that was 10 years ago, right? It's standard procedure to look at people's backgrounds. So there's an example of how social media is used to gather information on somebody to use either to bolster an argument or to use against them or whatever in a job interview process. Now, if they use it in a job interview process, you can imagine what other processes they use them for that we don't know about. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly it's data mining. And
course it
I've tried telling people this. When I was climbing the mountain behind me to go up and man the fire tower to watch for forest fires and people burning that when they're not supposed to burn and this and that and everything, I walked right by a tower that they say is not there. It's like, I walk by this thing every day. When I'm in the fire tower, I can see it over on the side. And I was telling people, and then I found how it all worked. And now I will show people. It's the Utah Data Center. Everything, every last piece of data that hits the internet goes through the Utah Data Center. And it is all encompassed together. You have a file. Now, this second tower that they claim is not there is the NSA's intercept tower. So everything, every text you send, every phone call you have, anything that goes over your smartphones and everything, this tower picks it up.
Right.
And that is so it can go to the data center. Now, here 3 years ago, what people didn't realize they'd done, they called it in DC, they called it the bill. And what they were getting the courts and the legislation to do is to pass the bill so that it's illegal for them to data mine all this stuff and then arrest you. What they wanted is to arrest you first and then build their case.
Yeah.
So what you just said, that's exactly what they're doing. They have that file. And they'll go back and they'll say, oh, okay, Brian, what's this? 8 years ago, you said this.
Mhm.
And this is what you meant, even if you meant it or not, this is what you meant by it. And that's
Yeah.
going to be in the case against you.
Yeah, that's how it
So,
works.
right.
And that's actually right back to my point, as I said in the beginning. That's why you need to have this conversation with yourself. You have to need to have this long look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. Am I strong
Right.
enough to carry this out? Because they will remember the shit that you put out, and you will be tried for it at some point. So you
Oh,
have
of
to.
course. Of
You will
course.
be on the point. So you have to be on the verge of being
Yeah,
well.
you just
Kind of
have
lost
to be
that one.
ready. See,
Yeah,
well,
you need to be
it,
ready.
right, because it's like me. I understand with my health condition. At some point, I already know they're going to hold that over my head. They're going to say, okay, you have to comply with this, you have to do this, you have to do that, you said this, you said that, blah, blah, blah. You can't have your health treatments because of this.
Yeah,
And it's going to be, well, fine. That means I'm going to get to go see God before you do.
yeah,
And that bothers them too. That's where so many people ask me, Dave, you're knocking on death's door. I said, I'm not knocking on it. It's already open. I got 1 foot through the friggin' thing. And they said, that don't bother you? And I said, why should it? I'm not afraid of death, because that's the kind of spiritual life that I live, is because I know in my heart, this is it. And if I have to leave this world for that world, great. You can't hold that over my head.
no.
So
And if you
that's
see
why
the
they,
world for what it is right now, how can you fear death? If you see the world as what it's gonna be in 10 or 20 years from now, how can you fear death? Because this is way worse.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
So
right. And people, what bothers me is I look at my two boys. One is 29 and one is 24. What kind of life or world is it going to be for them 10, 15, 20 years from now? So my goal now is to prepare them for, this is what's coming, guys. This is what it's going to be. This life that they said you're going to have, you're not going to have. They're lying to you. You're not going to have any freedom. You're not going to have any rights. You're going to be a slave to their system.
yeah.
Period.
So on that note, I want to bring in a certain person. So we are gathered the people that I really wanted to talk to yesterday. We're only missing Mike now. So welcome, Stacy. So yeah,
Thank you.
love
Nice to
to see
see you
you.
guys.
Hi.
Well,
Good
hello
evening.
there. How you
Yeah,
guys
I
doing
just
tonight?
listened
I was
back.
just catching into the show, listening, and it was about data collection, and that's something I definitely know about. They've been doing for a very, very long time. So I would love to be part of the conversation for a moment, if you don't mind. And happy Halloween to everybody. Not that it really matters about Halloween, but it's time to have a good spirit, and that's what I meant tonight.
Bubble, bubble, toil and trouble.
You call me trouble, trouble, trouble.
Well, it must be weird. I was just sitting here looking at at my security camera, and I could have swore I saw a T-Rex.
It could be, or just a
Yeah,
fat dude dressed out.
my oldest boy, his girlfriend is here with her daughter, and she's got a T-Rex uniform on, a big full-size one. And the poor girl I was watching, she was trying to walk back out of the driveway with it. And holy cow, it's got a 4-foot friggin' tail on it.
You know what my daughter wanted to be for Halloween?
A
She wanted
human?
to be that red guy from what do you call it? Oh, Squid Game.
Oh, jeez.
Isn't that a
Squid
bitch?
Game. Are kids all watching like this new thing called Squid Games or something? I was just hearing about it, and my nieces were talking about it with me, and it's quite
Oh,
interesting. Yeah.
You
it
need to
was.
watch it too. You know, I started watching it with my son this weekend, and there's some bombs in there too. So
Yeah, it was put out by
yeah,
Netflix, and it was filmed and stuff. It's from South Korea.
yeah,
So, but it's pretty telling from what I have seen and heard, and I
there's a lot
haven't
of good,
watched it. Yeah,
lot of
it's
good shit in there. It's bad actors. It's not very well made, but there's some truth bombs in there. So
right.
it's hard to
Yeah, they
watch,
always.
but you need to.
Yeah,
I think for what I got from it was how society acts, and this is how easily the lies are done because people will, manipulate others. People have agendas, and it's so easy to lie to people. And that's the point. Can we even trust your friend? When it comes down to feeding your family or you or them, people usually will choose what? Themselves and not take the other route. So that I've heard a little bit of what's going on. My friend watched it, told me about it. She's letting her daughter watch it, which I was a little bit like, I don't know about that because I've heard it's quite gorier stuff. There's stuff that's happened and it's heartbreaking. But it supposedly teaches, people reality of what's really going on out there. And it does kind of happen like that.
And
Well,
You know?
let's bring that back to nursery rhymes and kids' stories and all that sort of stuff that we were talking about a minute ago, right? How extreme do we have to send kids messages for them to understand things of life, facts of life, and all that sort of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to package it into things like the squid thing, or let's go back 150 years and put them into nursery rhymes written by poets from the Black Forest in the middle of Germany, right?
right.
Similar sort of thing to stop kids from walking off with strangers and all that sort of thing. You're thinking to yourself, is it really meant for that? Is it meant as almost like a bit of advice, a bit of guardianship, or is there something more sinister going on there? Really? Would you bring over a message like that in that fashion? I'm not too sure, but that's just me just putting it out there,
yeah, they've been talking to the kids for a long time. There are also, Gravity Falls and all these other shows that shows a lot of truth in them. That's for the kids. That's not for us.
Right.
So they're talking directly to the kids now, and that's pretty new. That's only 10 or 15 years or something they've been doing that.
It's what we said a
So-
minute ago, my friend. It's all about the kids.
It is,
Right.
and it's getting more and more obvious for every day that's going by.
Yep. They want the young. They don't want people over my age.
No,
Nah, not too
Oh, they
interested.
definitely-
they just
definitely
want you
don't
to
want
shut
people
up
my
and let
age.
them teach the kids. That's what they want.
They definitely don't want people my age. Holy cow, I'm pushing 60. So I mean, it's
Well-
like, what are they?
Well, I don't think it's your age. It's just because you know shit.
Well, yeah.
That's it. Exactly. I think they track and trace us for different reasons as you get older, depending on what you're saying, what you're doing. Are you following a line? And then the children are more structured and they're programmed. And that's what the whole educational system is about, and teaching you to follow the clicks and, trust in authority, all those things. So,
But-
yeah, they want the kids. But at the same time, they still want us to, in our information, see what we're doing, make sure we're not following or what we're doing in line. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, mainstream Sven would say to you, I would get off your conspiracy horse there. I mean, come on. Are you really telling
Mainstream
me that they're
Sven?
tracking?
Huh.
No, hang on a minute. Come on. Are you telling me they're track and tracing people? They haven't got time to do that. Come on. They'd have to all be in on it. They'd all have to know about all of that.
Why?
Come on. Where's
Why
your
would they
proof?
lie?
Where's your evidence? No, come on. You
Right.
need to have a bit more
Yeah.
trust and faith in things. Come on. If you don't start trusting at least a little bit, then you're never going to get on in this life. Come on.
Well, I
Just
think it's
because
more-
I mentioned mini processing choppers for vegetables, well, that's not the reason all the
Well,
ads
it is.
came up
Like,
for
I
it. Now,
actually
is
think
it?
it is.
No, they're not that smart. They couldn't be.
It's not just about truth. It's not just us sitting here speaking truth. It's more than that. They don't want, if you have skills, that could make you independent from this system, they don't want you to teach to your kids that either, even though you're
Oh,
not
no.
awake or
No.
anything, They want to eradicate all, independent thoughts and independent skills and make everybody dependent on the system. And the only way to do that is to kill the narrative and make everybody that knows shit shut up, So
Right. But when you look at the data mining, what was one of the things that they started stripping off the internet 3 to 4 years ago? All of us that were showing people how to prep for things, and okay, here's this generator, and this is how you store this, and all that stuff started. They got that right off the airways real quick. Because and like with me, if I mention, that's what I noticed, the stuff that this platform here, they immediately say no, that video is not allowed. It's because they see what I've done and what I have and what I can do. And I don't broadcast it, but the knowledge I have and the skills that I have, my boys are being taught the same thing.
Yeah, and I still think they want your skills. You look at it this way: if you have a plan that says you want to eradicate 90% of this world's population, but you're rich fuckers and can't do shit yourself, what better way to set up a platform where everybody can show their skills, and you can save it in a big server in Langley, and then you can kill 90%, because now you have all the knowledge provided by everyday man on this system, this platform, and you hit that, and then you kill all the people that know stuff, and then you take all the kids and teach them the stuff that you got off the internet, So
this is how you push the button to run the robot that builds me my nice recliner.
Exactly.
So I can sit back, and now you come over here and cook me my nice steak, and here is your soybean burger for you.
That is a fantastic idea. Stacy.
Yeah.
Am I supposed to be start cooking now? Is that what I'm being called for? The woman of the show?
No.
I'm just.
Oh no! I've outed myself now.
Boy, I do a lot of the cooking in this house, and that's what the nurses that I've dealt with, that give me my weekly infusion and that they can't believe it. You cook? I go, yeah, I've always cooked.
Right, exactly.
And I clean. I've done my own. I do my own laundry, and
I also, and you also like to recline as well. I mean, what's the problem, And it's the reclining bit that I quite like the sound of.
Yeah. Right. Hey, I'm sitting right here in a recliner, right in front of this great big massive screen, talking to you guys. That's why I turned the camera off.
I ain't sitting in a reclining chair, and I'm not sat in front of a massive screen either. So I've got two things I need to work on there. Stacey knows what I'm on about, because you've been here. You've seen my setup. It's not a studio.
Yeah, my boys and the wife, they got me this a couple of years ago. I'm sitting here in front of 3 screens and $2,000 worth of computer equipment.
Now he's just showing off. Everybody, applaud. I'm kidding.
Right, and on that note, I'm going to go to the gents.
But that's the research I do. See, when I used to do the podcast, one screen was never enough, because you always have so many windows open, and you have reference materials, and so you always need multiple screens, so you have it all set up so you can watch everything. Because when you do 2 hours, if it's one thing I didn't like, I was one of those that I didn't like dead air. People are there to hear what you've got to say, and so I had it always set right up ahead of time. And I've got my laptop sitting here that's got all my security system on it, because I don't trust people. I just don't trust people anymore. So
I wonder why.
Yeah, I can't figure that out. It's not like there's any evil people in the world. Come on.
When did this start? Like 18 months ago?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that way there, when I see all the blacked out SUVs and all these men jumping out, I know which way I can run. The opposite direction from where they're coming. But that's, it's just, that's the society that we live in, I mean, it's a shame, but it is what it is. And it all comes back to how much data can we mine from you?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I see it. They try to get into my security cameras, but I've got that locked down like I have everything else. They can't lock in and see what's going on in my cameras.
Don't use that word "can't," because you don't have any clue what these people can do. You know, that's the whole point. We don't know. They are light years ahead of us when it comes to stuff like this.
Oh, of course it
Everything
is.
we have is given to us.
Right.
So
And the best security camera on the market for the public today, the government had it 20 years ago.
yeah, and they wouldn't give you something if they think you could use it to hide. They wouldn't give it
Right.
to you.
Right. And they what they have now is 100 times better than what you're allowed to have.
Yeah, of course.
That it's always been that way. And I mean,
Yeah.
I knew that from when I was in the town government. I mean, I saw how they were. That's why they hated me, because I wasn't there to be a part of that system. I was there to expose that system. And
Yeah.
that's what I did.
You
So-
don't release poison in this world until you are sure you have the remedy, right?
Right. And always have a backup plan that nobody knows about.
Yeah.
It's between you, yourself, and only you.
And and the other things, like the vault they're building on the coast of Norway, on Svalbard, they're building the vault with all the seeds from all over the world, and,
Right.
and that goes right in the narrative. That's not something they can collect on the internet like they do in our knowledge. They have to have physical seeds. And why would you
Oh.
do something like that if you had faith in humanity?
Right.
Speaking of faith in humanity, Brian, and I didn't want to go off on a tangent, but just before I forget, you asked me something a few days ago, or you mentioned something, and I heard something in the news that apparently old
Oh
Lizzie,
yeah.
right? Well, apparently she's ill.
What?
Apparently she's ill.
She's
The old
ill.
lady in Buckingham Palace,
Oh, it's about fucking
Really?
time.
allegedly.
Yeah,
Huh.
I was speaking to Sven because I heard some rumors from actually a guy that I trust. So yeah, apparently I heard some rumors that a certain beehive queen in a certain country, where a certain friend of mine should be dead, and they're trying to cover it up. So yeah,
Man,
that's what
we had
that's about.
we had a Supreme Court justice right here in America that they covered up her death for 9 months.
Easily
Yeah.
done, isn't it? If you want to control the
Yeah.
narrative, you just keep stories like that in the top drawer, don't you? And then you roll them out
Yeah.
anytime you need them.
Right. We'll roll it out
Apparently,
the
let me
month
put it
before
out
the
there.
election.
Apparently, there was a nurse who came out from the hospital where the queen was in, came out and said the queen is dead and they don't want you to know. So, and the video, I was told by a friend of mine that I trust. He has seen the video with this nurse, and he thought that it was kind of genuine, but it was all gone by the time he wanted to show me. So yeah, I don't know what to make of that, but I just thought, why not? That was the feeling I got. The first thing I thought was just, well, do you really think they could cover that shit up? And then my next thought was, yeah, why not?
Yeah,
That
of
would
course
make perfect sense,
Of course.
Well,
of
they
course
could they write it themselves, so they could certainly cover it up themselves.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Can they cover it up, Brian? They've covered up history. They've covered up
Yeah.
so much. They've covered up what the shape of this earth is. They've lied to you about absolutely every single thing. I mean, yeah, of course they can cover it up. And they do it
Yeah,
because they can. And how many times has this done before? I don't know. Do they even need to track and trace this at this point? The way that we think that they're doing it? I don't think
Yeah.
so either. Really, they're just doing it in our face, because my mom used to be able to tap into me all the time. She used to work for Indiana Bell and all these different things. It was very, very easy. They've been able to listen in on us for years since I was a kid.
Oh, of course.
It's not
Oh,
that
yeah, of
hard.
course they
You know what I
have.
mean?
No.
So
Oh, no,
do they
and
really
that-
need the
that thought
same
of mine-
information? I don't know.
That thought of mine was gone in like 4 seconds. So
Well, people didn't realize it here in the state of Maine either. But 3 years ago, when the governor we have now, when she stole the election here and became governor, 2 years into it, some papers got leaked, and they found out that she paid some company in California within 2 months of getting elected, paid a company an enormous amount of money in California to lock on and track every single smartphone in the state of Maine because she wanted to implement a mileage carbon tax.
And they're the excuses they use for further tracking and for further data gathering. That's exactly the thing, isn't it? It's carbon tax, it's global warming, it's this, it's that, it's the other.
I love global warming. I would love to be able to go through a winter without having to deal with snow. So let's have it. And if they're so worried about carbon, then tell all the screaming memes to shut up, because every time they're screaming like they do, they're exhaling all that poisonous carbon dioxide.
And if they're afraid of carbon dioxide, drop the fucking mask. You know?
Right. That's it. Because, you know, it's just, you know, where I am half Native American, and, you know, I am half indigenous to this land. And we know when you look at how everything was created, you know, what are you trying to do? Kill all the trees? Because the trees take in what we exhale, and the trees give off what we need to live. So we work in tandem with Mother Nature. Hello, what part of this don't you understand? But, you know, it's the whole climate change thing was debunked years ago, especially when, you know, Al Gore, that invented the internet, when he said, you know, it's all going to be gone in 12 years. That was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So now here they are again. Oh, it's going to be all gone in 12 years. Oh, shut up. Airheads on crack.
People have bought into the narrative now. It can't go back now, you know?
Right. I mean, you know, you've been proven wrong, because when you look at the true science of it, the amount of carbon that is in the atmosphere, if it goes by a few thousand microns up or down, the Earth is gone. If it goes up by 0.002 microns, parts per million of carbon in the atmosphere, we freeze. If it goes 2 down, we burn. So it stays within the tolerance level. That's why we're still here. So when they're trying to say all this carbon is building up in the atmosphere, no, well then stop spraying it out of your planes, and we'll be fine. You know, stop poisoning us with your aluminum oxide.
Yeah, we know everything is bullshit. So if we are told in the news, you know, then it's bullshit. You know, that is not the true narrative.
Right. So. Exactly. If you're going to repeat what the media is saying, then let me sit down and have a good heart-to-heart talk with you. Because the media it's 100% propaganda. I mean, look at the CIA director in 1986. We will know the disinformation program is complete when everything the American people know to be true is false.
Yeah.
And when you look out there today, everything the American people know to be true is false.
Yeah.
So I guess the program's complete.
You're still just a crazy conspiracist. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, I mean, it must be my long hair. It's got to be. I'm just some old.
For me, as you know, a problem with that is I see why some people believe some of the stuff they see in their TV and their news still, and it's usually the older generations especially. It's because they actually are seeing some true information that they actually will show you that's happening in your cities, right? Because I know some of these people that have actually been shot recently and all the crime that's going on. I'm about to go to a trial, hopefully stand up for somebody who's been treated bad and done wrong and shot here. But the thing is, it's just because you see one story that's happening in your city, that's reality, doesn't mean the rest of it, when you see green screens and everything else and your president comes on, is what is actually happening and what they're telling you. And there's a lot of double speaking, but nobody even pays attention to that. They just go on board because that one story, right, and their city happened to be right. It's not journalism.
That's the video I just put out yesterday, and that's just what I talked about, is how the game is played. How what you're seeing there is half of it's a lie and half of it's true. but they want you to believe what's a lie. So when you speak of what is a lie, then they can discredit you if you're telling the truth.
This is the land of confusion.
Yes, it is. But that's why. See, this is why they have that 24-hour news cycle, is because they bombard you with so much that people can't comprehend any of it. You
No,
know,
I think it's a narrative of playing the good cop and the bad cop. You know,
well, yeah,
I
that too.
I
But
think you know
they have to do
it's
that,
about confusing you. It's
Yeah.
that's why it's called the land of confusion.
right?
It's not about, they don't want you to have the truth, you know, and they don't want you to realize that they're lying
I'll
to
give
you.
you.
They want you to have you somewhere in the middle where you're just all confused and don't know what's real and what's not. You know, that's
Yeah.
the best place.
I'll give you an example, a harmless example. Well, not really harmless actually, in the bigger view of things. But I'll say it anyway. There was a lot of questioning about whether moon landings happened or not. Right now,
Yeah.
Not
I
really.
don't question it at all because I know they didn't happen. Right, but here's the thing. The thing here is that when we talk about confusion tactics, here's a classic. If you look at all the interviews that they've ever carried out with all the astronauts that have supposedly been out in space, half of them roughly will say they can see stars, and half of them roughly will say it's pitch black.
Yeah,
And
and then you have
now,
your misinformation again.
right, so there you have it right there, where
Yeah.
people are going, huh? Well, which one is it? Well, first of all, they know they can't, nobody from the public is ever going to be able to grab hold of one of those astronauts and have a chat with them and film them on a YouTube video, right? They know that. So
Yeah.
they're pretty
Right.
protected. So, and of course, they've got their Masonic masters that are protecting them anyway, because they're all part of the lodge as well. So you have that to add into the mix. Let's not
And the
forget that.
problem is that both notion comes from the same place. That's
Of
the
course.
problem, right?
Of course. And this is,
So which
it's
one?
the old saying about, the best way to control the opposition is to be the opposition.
Yeah.
Well,
and versus
that's
vice
where
versa.
I love the, you've got the den of wolves giving the fox an award for being such a good guardian over the chickens.
Right.
So everybody praises the fox. Well, without the fox, we lost 4 chickens, but with the fox, we only lost 3. So that's good, right?
Mm-hmm. sounds like extortion to me.
Yeah, but this is the kind of crap I used to hear from the leaders in the town hall. That's why I tried to press it to the people so much, is behind closed doors. All they're discussing behind closed doors is not what's going to be good for the public. It's how to lie to the public so they believe what they're trying to sell them. That's all they talk about behind closed doors. I was there. I was in those closed doors.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, I was privy to some of those kinds of conversations when I studied politics back in the day. And one guy who earns not billions, but millions on doing that very thing that you're talking about right now is Tony Blair. Tony Blair goes round the world. And when I say round, I mean in a circular fashion, not a spherical one. And he basically he's commissioned by governments around the world, who of course are startup governments, let's say in countries like Kazakhstan and these sorts of countries, Uzbekistan and all that, right? Where they have oligarchs with billionaires who have no idea about politics, but the country needs running somehow, right? And he goes around telling these governments how to get away with it, basically. How you deal with your populations, how you enforce it. You know what I mean? That's his job. That's how he earns his money right now. They call him a chief advisor. That's what they call it, right?
Well,
and
this is why after World War II, this is why all your big corporations, they no longer have a propaganda office. They have a public relations office.
It's all in the wording.
It's the same thing, right? Exactly. Yeah. Public relations is, okay, we need this narrative and we need the people to believe this narrative, period.
Absolutely.
So here, we'll just pad the pocket of the news media over here and they'll protect our narrative.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, It's such a joke. It really is. All I know, you know what I know is real? When I step outside and look up and I see the clouds and I see the trees and it's raining, okay, that's reality. If I stay out here, I'm going to get wet. So I'll go back in.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, or like the other day, it is pretty neat here in Maine the way wildlife is. Once in the spring and once in the fall, it's like a flock of 50 to 60 blackbirds. They go from yard to yard to yard and they clean everything up. All the seeds, worms, meat, whatever, your bird seed, whatever. So what I done is I had our dog out and I had her over in the fence with me over in the far corner, and I let them all land by my bird feeders. And then I said, get them. And you want to talk about some birds that split when a 60-pound pit bull come running right into the middle of the flock. Now, I wish I had my camera for that one. Because, boy, when she hit that flock, she was jumping, trying to grab them. They were splitting. But that's reality. That's wildlife, you know, and that's nature. And that's reality. You can't deny it.
Yeah, and I think in nature we actually have coincidences.
Yeah,
So
it was just a coincidence that that one blackbird didn't get up high enough before the dog jumped 4 feet and grabbed it.
mm,
She didn't catch any, but you know, she had fun chasing them around, barking at the trees while they were all in the trees. And it's like, get out of here, guys, because they poop all over everything, and they clean up all the bird seed that all the other birds need. I got probably 12 different species of birds that hang out here, and you know, and eat all the food and everything. But when they come in, they clean it. They clean everything right up, and then they move into the next yard and the next yard and the next yard, and then they disappear until spring.
yeah, just like humans.
Yeah, yeah, just like all the. Well, I'll be nice. I won't call them what I normally call people from Massachusetts.
Why not? We are trying to get a strike here. You know that, right?
Well, they done a thing. I don't know if you remember. You probably don't remember this. Here a few years back, they had a series on of how the states were formed, and they came to Maine. So when they came to southern Maine, they asked a bunch of questions. They said, well, what do you think about people from Massachusetts? Massholes. Huh. So they went into the central part of Maine. Well, what do you think about people from Massachusetts? Massholes. Then they went to northern Maine. What do you think about people from Massachusetts? Massholes. So he says, I guess, well, people in Maine do not like people from Massachusetts. Well, of course not, because they destroyed their state. Then they took all their money and they come up here and they buy summer homes, and they come up here in the summer, and that's exactly what they are. They are vile, nasty. It's like, just because we live here, we're supposed to bow down and kiss your ass? No, the only thing I wanted to do was go down there on the border where they come across from New Hampshire, and it says, welcome to Maine. And I wanted to spray paint on the bottom, now go home.
Yeah. Well, Maine. I think Maine is the capital of any meme. You know. You know. You
Of
know.
course.
Maine is just like, oh, why do you do your fishing in the mainstream?
Yeah.
It's just a meme walking around.
Well, when they really got pissed off is when we started using airbrushing to take vacation land off the bottom of the license plate and spray painting in taxation land, because everything is taxed here. If they catch you sneezing outside, there'll be a little tax collector. Okay, that's excess carbon tax. Here you go. Here's your tax for it. I mean, they tax everything in this state. Everything. It's ridiculous. But
Yeah, well, you know, I guess everywhere has that issue. They just call it something different, don't they? But
they do.
It's all the same thing. It's money out of your pocket, and it all adds
still,
up.
But still, all in all, you know, when you look at all the statistics in the United States, the safest state is still Maine, because we still have our constitutional carry. And the reason nobody messes with you, because nobody knows who's carrying. You don't have to show it. You don't. It can be hidden behind you. It's constitutional carry. I can walk right around out here with a friggin' 45 right on my side, and there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah, but I still don't understand how that has got anything to do with. I don't know. That for me, that's a bizarre. Not that you're saying it, but for me, I never understand how that is an important part of the whole equation. This whole gun carrying thing, I don't get it. The reason why I don't get it is because when push comes to shove, it ain't gonna matter.
Right. Well, okay. Say I'm a criminal, and you're walking down the street, and I walk up behind you, and if I thought I could mug you without you having any means of protecting yourself, then you're going to get mugged.
Oh, I understand the argument.
Right.
It's self-protection to blow someone's head off. It's great.
Right.
Yeah.
And in Maine, yeah, you go to mug somebody and you just might get shot.
Okay. Well, I mean,
but at the same time,
that's fair enough. But I wouldn't want my daughter walking around with a Magnum just because she's scared of getting mugged. Right. I mean, there must be other ways of going about that issue.
But the biggest thing in Maine is the wildlife, where we're a good sized state. Yeah. And 90% of the state is wilderness.
I've heard a lot of positive stuff about Maine from somebody I know very well, actually.
Yeah. And like when I grew up, it wasn't for protection from humans, but where I grew up in the woods and around the lumber industry and everything else, you didn't go walking around in the woods unless you were protected, because the wildlife up there just sees you as dinner.
Yeah, well, that's it. I get that. I mean, yeah, you want to be armed for that. By the time you
have to be.
Well, yeah, of course. By the time you get your bow and arrow out, it's too late. Obviously, yeah, sure.
Yeah, you're darn right.
But this notion about everybody should be walking around with a piece in their jacket because it's their God-given right. Well, first of all, no, it's not a God-given right at all. God didn't call the president and say the Americans shall have weapons. It didn't work like that, right?
No.
So that's a load of nonsense.
I don't carry a lot. I know.
No,
there's only certain times and certain places where I know that, there's problem areas, and I'm not going to go into that area unless I can equalize the playing field. Other than
that's the thing. Once you pull a weapon, the playing field is no longer equalized.
No,
that's it. No. Then you've crossed the mark, and that goes for both. So that's the thing. So,
of course,
if anyone pulls a weapon, they have to be prepared to use it. And I know for a fact that 9 out of 10 people would not be, even if they have one on them.
Well, this is the point too. Is our, and I've said this in the past, is our own government has let criminals have these guns. What they did with, the whole Fast and Furious stuff too, and how those guns got into the wrong hands, and we allow that to happen. The criminals have them, and yes, we're concerned, and we're worried about our safety. I understand that. I walk these streets. I know. I've seen people with ankle bracelets carrying them, and active fools carrying them sideways. Okay, we get it. But this would not be this way, and we would not have to be acting this way if it was not handed to them. Now, I'm sorry. I just came from America to England, and then back to America. And the one thing that I miss the most is when I was in England, I did not feel the need to look over my shoulder because someone might shoot me. I'm sorry, but you can sit here and think it's for tyranny, right? But we've been under tyranny for a long time, and we've done nothing with our guns. Now you want to talk about hunting. Yes, that's wonderful. But how many people, now I'm not from Maine, it's one thing because I've been to Maine. It's a beautiful place, by the way. If you're from Maine, you're hunting, I get it. But most people that are talking about guns and the reason to have them and support them the way they do are not really for the reasons that they're actually using them for. And that's the difference. Now, if you want to keep something in your home to protect yourself because it is a crazy place out here, yes, but it shouldn't be a crazy place out here. The criminals shouldn't have the guns out here. And the mentality of people shouldn't be what it is today. And that is the issue. It's not about guns. It's not about crime. It's about people and the information and the control that they've had on us and the systems being broken, and everybody wants to escape to drugs and bullshit, and then people are getting shot left and right or stabbed or whatever it is because over some nonsense, right? But it's not really what we need at the end of the day.
No, it's because the government in America has given the criminal more rights than the victim. And the criminal knows that they look in San Francisco right now. You can walk right into a store and steal $900 worth of product right off the shelf and walk right out, and nobody's going to do anything. And that's the problem that we are running. And that's where I agree. That's the problem we have. Yes, I have guns. I was brought up with them, but that's a means of supporting with food. And I know how to go out and hunt, and I know how to provide. I don't use, and that's it. And yes, if the craziness, and that's how it is. Like, yeah, my wife, we bought her for her birthday this year. We bought her a new Ruger. But like I told her, I said, you don't just take the thing and start popping off, caps at people coming through the door. You run upstairs and you let them know in no uncertain terms, hey, I am armed and the cops are on the way. You don't just start, pulling a trigger, especially with the calipers that we have and everything. You'll go through them and you'll hit your innocent neighbor over there, because it'll go through the person and it'll go through that friggin' wall in there, and it's going to hit the innocent person. So you don't just start popping caps. If they come storming up the stairs at you, then, well, yeah, you may have to take out a kneecap or two. But, there's ways to protect yourself. And yet, and if you go out carrying and, oh, look at me, I'm walking around with a 9mm, hey, look at me, then you're asking for trouble. I do agree with that. You're going out there and you're asking for trouble. So yeah, it's a catch-22. It really.
I think we're living in two different worlds, and sometimes different societies grow up in a different way, and you have to change the society before it is what you want it to be.
Well, yeah, you do.
So you can't compare Europe to the US. I think that would be wrong, because we're like two kids that grew up in two different ways, so.
Right. And like when I grew up in the 70s, and where I grew up in Northern, you didn't lock your car. You didn't even have to take your keys out of your car. You didn't lock your doors and everything. You didn't have to. And yeah, society has not changed for the better. It has changed for the worst. Yeah. So now where I am in Southern Maine, yeah, you have to lock your doors at night. You have to lock up your car. You have to all this stuff, because criminals have too many rights. They're not being held accountable for their crimes. And that's a problem. That's because the system, like, you just said, it's broke down. The system in America is broken. And
by design.
Well, of course it is. Of course it is.
It's not accidental. It's not what they like to say in England when they talk about, what do they call it when government ministers seem to be incapable of carrying out their tasks and all that sort of stuff. It's nothing to do with any of that. It's all done by design, and that's the sad part about it. But people buy all the other stuff, don't they? They buy all the excuses and all the stories.
Right.
But it's
right. And they need to destroy, because what they're doing is they're dividing the people.
Even more so, yeah, absolutely.
And once you divide the people, then the people are fighting each other, and they're not paying attention to the perpetrators of the division.
Absolutely. And it's always it's always one thing we've always been saying. It's the ants in the room that will get you, never the elephant.
Oh yeah, exactly.
The thing.
So yeah, that's where we're at, and it's a shame, because this is not the America I grew up in, not even close.
No, and my country neither.
Have you ever been to Europe?
No.
Okay, the same, because I think we might find it an interesting contrast.
Well, that was one of the things that I never did. It's even to the point now I used to go into Canada when I was younger, but now you need a passport, and I refuse to give the government that.
But if you really want to see Europe, you don't go to a place where they speak French.
No. And that's where a lot of people don't realize is that, well, most of Canada, they don't speak French, they speak English.
Yeah.
And the ones that do speak French, they don't speak French from France.
Did we lose Stacy?
Yeah, I think Stacy dropped.
Stacey may have dropped. I do believe she was in the car earlier as well, but I think she had to nip out quickly because she was in between doing things. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
You know, it's the spin of the earth. It's that Coriolis, Brian.
Oh, yes, he's back home now. I forgot. Yeah. I thought she was just around over on the other side. She's not. So I can actually see. Ooh, that was Stacy again. Now without the avatar.
We scared her.
Can we hear you, Stacy? Are you here by audio?
Wow, we're getting a lot of kids.
Yeah.
We're making
Yeah.
the dentistry industry really happy tonight.
Yeah, let me just shout out some people. You know, we have Matt Pyman and Eric Leong, and we have a couple of people who has joined the stream. And good to see you all. Those who know me knows that we say anything here. And today I'm actually being a little more blatant. You know, I want everybody to speak their mind because today we are trying to get a guideline strike on code design. Sven.
Oh, I could do it for you, Rebel. I could do it for you.
You know, because you actually, if we get through a program talking about revolution without getting a guideline strike, we lost.
Holy cow! Sorry to change the subject, but about a group of 25 kids are just walking into the dooryard. Holy cow!
Must be the flags.
Yeah. Well, what it is here, see, on this road here, we've always had 200 to 300 children. And last year they ruined it all with their fear. But this year they've been putting it out. Oh, Halloween is back. Halloween is back. Halloween is back. And yep, here we go. Well, I got the front floodlight turned off so it doesn't come on. So they don't really see the flags.
No.
But you don't stop the young ones from getting their candy. You just don't.
Kind of amazing. There haven't been anybody knocking at my door. Maybe they know better.
Well, the
one all an apple.
the one little sign out there that I'm glad they can't see is it says no trespassing. Trespassers will be shot. Survivors will be shot again.
See, now you're back at shooting people.
Even though I'd never do it.
You need to stop shooting people.
Yeah, I know. God's getting upset with me.
Yeah.
Dave, you filled the waiting room twice. Enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
As long as you keep a seat for me, dude. Yeah, I don't know.
I will say right now, just a disclaimer, because we have all these people on. I will go on for like a half an hour more, then it's all done for me. I have work in 5 hours, so I need some sleep as well.
It is getting late, actually. Did your clocks go back last night, Brian, or tonight? Last night?
I have no idea.
What time is it now in Denmark?
It's midnight.
midnight.
30:30. Yeah.
So you did go back an hour with us then as well. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Europe does it. United States is, I think, a day later.
Yeah, next week. Ours is next weekend.
Oh yeah, next week. It's a week later. Yeah. we are
Yeah,
stuck.
they need to, you know, and that's a funny deal right there with everything too.
Winter
It's
comes
like
late in the U.S.
it's like so many people, they say, well, no, we're going on to daylight savings time. Well, no, you're going on to standard time. It's like, no, when I grew up, it was in the fall time you went on daylight savings time. Why would you need to save daylight when it's the longest time of the year? You know, we get up to, in the summertime here, we get up to 16 hours of daylight through the summer. Why would we be on daylight savings time? What are you trying to save? But then what I've told people, I says, it was an old Indian chief, when he was told the reasoning behind daylight savings time, he said only a government would cut a foot off the top of a blanket, sew it on the bottom, and claim to have a longer blanket.
Correct.
You know, and
Yeah.
it's true.
I
Exactly
think
what it is.
Stacey
It's
having
all-
some issues. Her device, it says her device is cutting in and out. So
yeah, I think Eric was coming in and out, wasn't he?
was Eric coming in?
Or was it Stacey? I don't know. I couldn't see. You've got your banner underneath. I can't see who that is behind there trying to get in. But
Oh, I don't know.
Stacey.
Maybe
There we go.
did
Is
I
her.
miss
But
something? I only see you three guys.
I thought it was
Two
Eric
guys.
for some reason.
No,
I don't know
I
why,
see.
because-
I see Stacy back.
Yeah.
I'll try to be nice so I don't scare her off. I don't want to scare off any
Yeah, but
guests.
every time she disappears, it says device is not connected. So I think
Yeah.
she's.
I promise to use my bow and arrow from now on. Okay.
No, killing people is killing people. You need to stop killing people. I'm telling you right here. No way. If you want to be a part of this family, you need to stop killing people.
Okay, I will.
So
For an hour
Yeah.
anyway.
yeah, we're here for humanity, even though they're not here for us.
Right. Right. And that's it. I mean, I get along with anybody, and I can't be mean to people. I never have been, but I will defend myself if need be.
Of course. So you should. I do
Yeah.
too. I just do it another way, because there are no
Right.
guns pointing at me. So
I
can defend
I
my
like
verbally or by my fists. So
I like killing people with kindness. That seems to work really good.
it is, or just provocativeness. It works
Right.
too,
Oh, it triggers them.
That's my new motto. When they get all too tough and scream in my face and do stuff, I just do
Yeah.
it. That kills them right away.
Well, in America, the atheist, the best one that gets them the worst is, "I'll pray for your soul." Don't you pray for me? Why? But that's and it is too bad that people just, I don't know. But I know that this is scary for them. This is, how dare you people right now representing 3 different countries? How dare you speak to each other and get along? How dare you? You know?
Yeah, common ground and unity. That's what they fear the most.
That's
so.
why we have countries, to prevent that from happening. It's exactly the reason. That's why we have religions. That's why we have political systems. That's why we have all sorts of things. That's why we have sport. That's why we have the list goes on and on and on. Right.
Yeah. You still
it's
have
all
people
to do
killing
with-
each other over a football match.
It's all to do with keeping people in that. First of all, it's to keep that tribalism upheld that humans seem to have instilled in them, and also it's that division, and that distraction. It's been done since, I would presume, humankind has occupied this earth.
Well, yeah, it has. And even with, I've talked a lot about that with people about, the indigenous people that were here, my ancestors on the native side back in the day. Yes, we had a form of tribalism. That's just what it was. We had our tribes and we had our area that we controlled. And the reason for that is that area that we controlled sustained us It
Exactly.
sustained. It
Yeah.
sustained our tribe. It gave us the food, the shelter, and it gave us what we needed. So if we were to let another tribe in, then our people would starve because they would take what we had.
Right.
Or, and
They
so
they
you
are
want
gonna to. They are going to.
wouldn't you, if you were a powerful person with a lot of influence, wouldn't you want to keep that division going and not enable people to be able to understand each other with one singular language so that there wouldn't be any misunderstandings? You think that's exactly what you would want. You would want tribes wanting to protect their own bit of land because they think it's different and better and more important than the other bit of land that doesn't belong to them. And that's exactly how it works in the modern day, only on a bigger
Yeah.
scale. But we're then
Yeah.
distracted by modern technology, be it social media, new cars, sports, fashion, whatever it is, and all that sort of stuff. Reality TV, of course, is a favorite, and all that sort of stuff, right? But it's the same principle. Humans have never changed their ways ever. And when people think we've gone forwards or advanced in any way, shape, or form, they are
They're
absolutely
regressing.
mistaken.
Yeah.
We haven't, not one bit, not
well,
one bit. Look at
you
the building. Look at the architecture that people cannot explain. Look at
Right.
the historical gap of 1,000 years, roughly, and that's just a hazard. That's just a guess. We don't really know for sure. But you think about all the intelligence that has been around, either before us or amongst us, and we don't even know because we don't know. I don't know the size of the Earth. I don't know how the Earth is mapped. Only a few
Well,
people know
when
that.
you look at division and tribalism, who started that?
Yeah,
God
well,
did. God did. Back in the Tower of Babel, when everybody spoke the same language and they all were one large group, a king of Nimrod was gonna basically overthrow God. He was going to build that tower to overthrow God. So when God stepped in and struck the tower and caved the tower down and divided the people and divided their tongues, because if they could all communicate, there was nothing that they could not accomplish. But what they would accomplish would not be for his betterment or for the betterment of people. It would end up being for the betterment of one group against the others. And we see that through history with the stronger, with the Romans, how strong they were, the Babylonians, how strong they were, Persia, how strong they were.
Well,
they overthrew the smaller tribe. Now, in America, for the tribes, we didn't try to overthrow each other. We actually did trade and, trade with each other. Okay, your furs are these and we have these furs, so we'll trade you these furs for those and this food, and we actually worked together. But at the same time, we did have our area that we protected because that sustained our tribe. You take the Micmac nation was a large nation. It was as big as the Cherokee or the Blackfoot or any of them. It was a massive, massive tribe. And it wasn't until the Europeans came here that they destroyed a lot of the native tribes and conquered, and took a lot of the land. And yeah, it was, but that's not what we were used to.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we're going by the official history narrative there, aren't we? Right. So when we're talking about the European settlers and everything else, we're going back at best 400 years. Right. Now, if we really want to look at that in a true historical term, the first people to build stone buildings and things like that were not the European settlers, because there were architectural giant constructs throughout America that are being found to this very day that predate that predate the European settlers and also predate the indigenous people. So what is going on there? Because we don't really know the actual true history of the country, because we know the architecture tells us otherwise as well for a kickoff.
Yeah,
so
the best,
we don't really know.
The best with the indigenous people of America, the best written proof of the lifestyle only goes back about 600 years. Before and after, before 600 years ago, there was no written document. There was no written proof. But what I speak of comes from my ancestors and comes
Sure.
from the true document. This is how it was. This is how we lived. This is
Yeah.
and this is what they did to us. And this is, you know, but I mean that is, again, that's human nature all the way through all recorded history, 2,000-3,000 years, 4,000 years. That has been history. That has been mankind. Stronger overthrows the weaker.
Well,
For-
strong. It depends how you mean stronger. I would say stronger, and I'm using a metaphor here, but actually it's quite poignant in this case. Those who are stronger with the pen win it at the end of the day, not with armies. And you can rewrite history books as history goes along. And this is the thing that people, well, I'm just saying, you know, and so we have to be a little bit cautious of it in that sense. However proud we are of our heritage, we need to be a little bit careful, because I believe a lot of it, if not most of it, if not even all of it, has been kept from us.
Right.
I think we've been given a narrative that we've all bought into, and I
Just
include
like we
in
talked
that
about
the
before,
indigenous
you know?
peoples as well.
Yeah.
Right.
They give us 50% on the one half and 50% on the other half. I think when we're reading the history book, it's the same story that we talked about, you know, a half hour ago, about this confusion and misinformation.
Absolutely.
You know, they give us half truth and half false, you know, and mix it all together so we can't tell the difference of what's right and wrong. I think that is the same narrative, you know.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how you know, I know how they rewrite history. That's how the Trail of Tears, when you look at the Trail of Tears, where they forced all the Indians in the southeast to march to the reservation in the west, we know through our written documents that thousands and thousands and thousands died along the way. The only thing you can find as so-called proof today, 2,000 died. No, more than 2,000 died. You're talking at least 10 to 15,000 Native Americans lost their lives as they were forced to march and walk and carry their belongings 1,200 miles to a reservation in the Midwest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and there are lots of those stories from lots of different countries, right? This is the point. This is the point I'm making. So you can draw, ironically enough, a lot of parallels to a lot of different parts of the world where, ironically or funnily enough, the same things have happened. And that, for me, is too script written. And it's a bit the same as what's going on right now with this whole situation that we're finding ourselves under for the last 18, 20 months or whatever.
Right.
You'll see the same thing is being played out in every country, just slightly tweaked, right? So the Aborigines won't be called the Aborigines in New Zealand; they'll be called the Maoris. But apart from that, it's the same storyline, right? And it's one second. And so it's the same if you go throughout Europe. You'll find tribes and origins of Slavic peoples, or if you go into the north of Europe, the Nordic peoples and all that sort of thing. And you'll yes, exactly. That's why I thought I'd give that a special mention. And again, you'll see parallels all over the place. So my question would be, well, how accurate is all of that really?
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Because we can all pinpoint these stories that you just mentioned there, right? But what I'm saying is, how much time do we spend on those stories when we actually, in truth, don't really know if they're true or not? We don't. We can think they are, we can hope they are, we can believe they are, but we don't know they are. And that, unfortunately, is a fact.
The problem is you can't build up a fresh glass of water until you emptied your old one, quite literally. You know, you have to pour everything out. You know, stop thinking that we can build our present awakening and our present knowledge on the foundation of what we learned when we were small. You know, it's very, very hard to tell the difference. So we have to just say everything is false until I know any better. You know, so.
Well, you can look for similarities. When you look for similarities in a narrative, you can usually find pretty much close to the truth of how they're lying to you. That's how you find that truth.
Yeah.
is you look for the similarities of what they're doing in Australia, what they're doing in New Zealand, what they're doing in Europe, and it's and you can see it. And then what's really scary is all you got to do is go look at the agendas of the UN, and there you go. It's laid right out for you, and they brag about it and they love it because people don't. I think it's beyond their scope of understanding to be able to understand that men of this world could be so cruel and evil and hateful to their fellow man. They it's beyond their comprehension of how somebody could be so blatantly evil to their fellow man.
Well, I mean, you can mobilize millions of men to go to war. They did it throughout history as well. All you have to do is feed them a bit of propaganda that they're a danger to your household, and before you know it, they'll all take up arms. Where does that sound familiar? Right? And this is exactly the point I'm making. Propaganda is what does it. You know,
of course it does.
And that counts for everywhere on Earth.
Oh yeah, and that's what the indigenous people of America, that's what they would do. That's what the chiefs and the elders would do. They would, hey, these people are a threat. Go get them. And the warriors would go get them. And I mean, it's the same with the Micmac, the history, our true history. The same thing happened here. When the Europeans came over, there was one tribe that they could not deal with. So they befriended the Micmac. They gave us more of the modern day at that time weaponry, and we went up and we annihilated them. Just because, like you say, the propaganda and everything, and these are our friends and we're going to fight for our friends. And what did the Micmac nation get for their troubles? They got taken over themselves. Thanks for getting rid of this problem, and now you're the problem, so we're going to take care of you. And then we're going to go traveling on down through the St. Lawrence Seaway, and we're going to take out them people too, because we want what you have, and we're going to take it. And we'll use any means of propaganda, lies, or whatever we have to do to get it.
Yeah,
and
like I said, there are thousands of those examples all around the world. I mean, what you're saying is very North America specific, but there are plenty of other examples. You could pick and choose them. But yeah, absolutely. I'm just a little bit mindful of the time because I've got to be honest, I've got to start heading off a little bit because it's getting a bit late for me as well. So I just wanted to quickly mention that.
We're gonna end this conversation in like 5 minutes, so we just fade it out, and after that, I'll just make my closing remarks and everybody can go to sleep.
Right.
So it was very nice to see everybody here. It's all the usual suspects, but some of the suspects have been out of jail for a while, so I'm happy to have them back. I'm sorry Stacey ain't here, so I can't say proper goodbye to her as well. So, but I will do in some time. Yeah, but lovely to have you.
Alrighty, thank you very much. And
seeing people have enjoyed what we have been talking about. It's been the topics are being discussed in the chat too. So I think that is a good evening for everybody. So
yeah, just the last thing I'll say is just remember, revolution does not always come with guns and fighting. There's other ways to do it, other ways to fight the revolution.
Yeah. And I think we need to look at the word revolution,
Right, exactly.
Revolution means just another round.
Yeah.
And what you don't want to be doing is just revolutions all day long and going around in circles, otherwise we ain't getting anywhere.
Left and right, east and west are still straight circles. So
absolutely. All right, guys and girls, thank you very much indeed. Brian, thanks for having me on. I was going to come on last time, but I just I didn't have the time and I was far too tired, and there's no way we're going to do that.
Perfect, because I kind of missed you both yesterday, so it was perfect that you could be here today. That was
And we will
Listen.
catch up anyway. We know we'll stay in touch definitely, and we'll catch up because we got a few plans as well going
Have a
moving
talk,
forward.
just the three of us, offline somewhere, and I mean,
Yeah, we will.
online,
We will.
but
Well, maybe in the Serious Truth server or something like that. You know, where everybody's
yeah.
welcome, of course, and they can,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, okay, guys, I'm going to head off. Thank you very much for having me, and we'll
Thank
see
you for
you.
coming, Sven.
See you around. Okay.
Will
All
do.
right. See you later. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Nice to meet you. Bye bye.
Nice to meet you. All right, Brian, I'll let you go and you can say your
Perfect.
goodbyes and stuff. And God
So
bless
good.
everybody and be safe
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah, good to have you, No Way, as always.
All righty, brother. Have a good
Yeah.
day at work and talk to
Yeah.
you all later. Good night.
All right. Bye-bye. So now it's just me and Stacy who can't get in and out, you know. I think she's here, but her phone is not working probably. I guess. Now she's off. So yeah, if you can hear me, Stacy, it was so nice to hear your voice. You and Sven and the other guys actually from your server, I missed them. It's not only you guys, I missed the others one who, as well, Huser and Telex and all the other guys. So it was lovely to hear your voice today. And I hope that we can have more conversations in the future, you know, because this is all we have now. As well, at least it's all I have now. My country is just getting more and more sleep every day, and I need a little revolution in my life. And right now, you are the people who are giving me that. So yeah. I want to thank everybody who was here. That was a lot of names today. We have some new names. Winston. I don't know where you heard of me, but welcome. Lovely to see new people. We have Sen Wen, is kind of new too. And then we have all the usual suspects. Good to see Eric Leong as well. And all the usual ones, Voynich, LDB, Carrie Skates, Bossacino is here, I think, for the first time. Welcome. BLB Such Much Jake, Johnny Cool, good to see you. And oh my God, we have a lot of people on. Matt Pyman, good to see you. And I want to shout out that I think Mr. Mensa is here too, but he can't comment because he's on an off-grid character. He's on a non-playing character because they pulled down his channel yesterday. So a big shout out to Mr. Mensa. We're thinking about you, and we hope that you get out of YouTube jail anytime soon. Just make a new channel and come back, and we'll be right there for you. So yeah, that is probably it for me today. I want to make some kind of closing arguments about this revolution that we've been through today. As I said earlier, revolution is something you need to consider because it's not for everybody, you know. But you can join this revolution without being a verbal, outgoing guy, you know. Just be an example for people, you know. Be comfortable in your own beliefs. You don't have to spread information. You can just walk around, you know, hold your head up high and be a beacon for this society. And I promise you, people are going to catch on. So when all this nonsense starts again, try to hold your head up high. Try to go to the stores you're not allowed to. And take the fights you can have without compromising your own mental health and mental state. You know, just do whatever you can. I want to bring back this before we end,
All the
you know, because
ideas that
this is what
became
it's
the
about.
United States, there's a line here that's at the heart of all the others. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security. It means if there's something wrong, those who have the ability to take action have the responsibility to take action. Of all the ideas,
And that's what it's about, you know? It's about if you are capable of changing just a little bit, it is not, it is your duty to do so. It's your obligation to do so. Because if you just stand by and watching this and know that you can do something and not doing it, you are participating. That's how I see it, you know? I'm not saying we should. Oh, it's Win Wilson. Oh, sorry there, Win Wilson. Good to see you. I got that one wrong. Yeah. Welcome, Win. As always, you are not new. Definitely not new. But if you have the ability to do something about what you're seeing out there, even the small things, you know, just making us kid smile in the train, you know. I've been doing that a lot lately when everybody was wearing the mask and nobody was showing their faces, you know. Every time I saw a little kid, I was trying to communicate them, you know, with them, with my face, because I was the only one in the train without a mask, you know. And you know what, those kids have a tendency to connect with me, you know. And not because I'm a big loving teddy bear or someone to suggest, but because I'm the only one with facial expressions, you know. So do that, you know. Just small things, you know. Just provide every little sanction of knowledge you have to the people around you, verbally or non-verbally, you know. Then you're participating in the revolution, you know. And try to detach yourself from this system as much as possible. You know, I get that you still need a bank account and you need a birth certificate and all that, you know. That's okay, you know. You know, what's done is done. You can't undone what it. What? I'm sorry. That was just my internet trying to tell me to upgrade my Windows to Windows 11, and of course I said, "Go fuck yourself." So yeah, uh, just go out there, be a beacon, as I always say. Even the small things that you don't think changes this system does. You know, every small things gathers up and becomes a ball, and when that ball is rolling down the mountain and catching up the traction, you know, it's gonna be a big motherfucking ball at the end of this slope. And that's what they're afraid of. You know, they're afraid of all the positivity and all the good vibes that we can send out there and help each other and be there for each other. You know, that is all, that is what they're trying to eradicate. All this good behavior, your kindness and your love for your fellow human being and neighbors. So that's my message to everybody out there. Let's start a revolution, you know, and it starts in all the small stuff that's in everyday life. Don't pass it on and say, "Oh, I'm gonna deal with this next week. I'm gonna tell him tomorrow." No, do it right there and then when you see it. Change your perspective of the reality you're in. Don't wait for the perfect timing or something like that, you know. Don't try to merge yourself into this reality that's not your reality. You know, don't try to fit in. Make your reality fight you a little bit, you know. Be who you are and fight the reality around you, the people, the society. Just a little bit. Or a lot if you can. So that is the message today. We haven't been shut down. I'm still saying COVID is a hoax, and I do think I'm going to get a strike for this one. COVID is a hoax. The tests don't work, and Fauci is an animal. And well, what else can I do? I love you all. This is Rebel TV. I will see you all on the flip side. So I'm gonna play this piece of music that I started the stream with, and yeah, it's a little more aggressive than usual. So this is it for me. Have a great night and a great weekend, and a good Halloween if you celebrate that. So peace. So
Became the United.
oh, wrong one. See, I still suck a little. I'm not pro yet.
Yeah, Steve Grant. Ghost, what up? Diesel, what up? Yeah, we the children of the future. We live in your computers, and we resist the hiss from these slithering Medusas. Switching up maneuvers more quicker than they used to. The last thing they want is thought criminals to move up. They try to reach for us, but they can't get to us. We're built to take hits, everything just slams into us. And because we ain't falling for these planned agendas, the shit we spit's only for advanced listeners. So listen up and look at us, we see it goes beyond us. That's why when we come together, we become the strongest. We getting close to the edge and I'm jumping off it, cause I ain't scared to die when I see that I got my squadron. We bombing them and I ain't talking about Boston, so shut up. Coming down on them, it's like a comet hitting Russia. Yeah, and that's a promise to my mother. Powerhouse by myself, but I'm stronger with my brothers.
Ghost Rider, Steve Grant, Diesel, we unite. Uniting tyrants, we defy. Peacefully, we freedom fighting. Fight the lyrics we recite and all the weapons that we choose. If the people come together, there's no way we'll ever lose. Divided we fall, united we stand tall. Divided we fall, united we stand tall. Divided we fall, united we stand tall. It's power to the people, each and every one of y'all. Diesel automatic, I've been blessed with a voice to spread the message with these lyrics, they my weapon of choice. I'm rapidly spitting balls like bullets when they're recited. I ignited a fire in the people that can't be slighted. We're united by the energy of the human spirit. This is revolution speaking through the music, you can hear it. Power to the people is the message in our lyrics. All those who have chosen to oppose it better fear it. I vow there's no surrender, I will never go silent. I bow to no oppressor, take orders from no tyrant. I'm defying a giant, larger than Leviathan. Born in the lion's den, informed by the might within. I am him, he is me. Diesel, I'm the G.O.D. The energy in everything and everyone you'll ever see. We are all connected by a higher power. It's time that we unite and fight until the final hour. Ghost Rider, Steve Grant, Diesel, we unite. Uniting tyrants, we defy. Peacefully, we freedom fighting. Fight the lyrics we recite and all the weapons that we choose. If the people come together, there's no way we'll ever lose. Divided we fall, united we stand tall. Divided we fall, united we stand tall. Divided we fall, united we stand tall. It's power to the people, each and every one of y'all.
Yeah. Ghost Rider, I've been fired, a team coming. We joining forces to teach the world to stand for something. Cause most will fall for anything. A nation full of creeps and blind sheep, sleepwalkers and dope fiends. I seen it all from the years that I put in. So afraid of truth that when you tell it, they head spins. And that's what happens when they make evil good, or good to be evil. Too much deception on our people and the ones we call sheeple. Roaming packs, know the type to play dumb when confronted with facts. They don't want to know the truth, they rather be fed lies. So the blind leads the blind while humanity declines. Refuse to let it happen to me, not having it. Soldier for the Lord, so these demons I do battle with. Rappers nowadays are just counterfeits and prostitutes. Targeting your kids, better guide them like you're supposed to do.
Ghost Rider, Steve Grant, Diesel, we unite. Uniting tyrants, we defy. Peacefully, we freedom fighting. Fight the lyrics we recite and all the weapons that we choose. If the people come together, there's no way we'll ever lose. Divided we fall, united we stand